Kia ora, and welcome to the DVT Shire-ies. This is the much talked about and only just now materialising interstitial episode of mine and Heather's adventures in New Zealand land. If you've listened to the Iceland Diaries, you'll have some idea of what to expect. Only not so much. I had absolutely no plan going into this, and to be honest, it shows. But bear with it, and thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this sound quality, good, but maybe don't get used to it. The whole thing was recorded on a field recorder in a multitude of locations and at varying different points of the holiday, sometimes just jammed in where we could. So the energy kind of goes up and down in places. Sort of, again, I ask again, sort of bear with it. You'll hopefully find something of interest or entertainment in it. Quickly, I want to give a quick shout out to Tamaki Maori village. When we were there, they said, take photos, take videos, do whatever, take them home to your family, share them around just to show our culture. I hope that kind of extends to this. But everything you hear was recorded live and they were incredible. So thank you to them. Without further ado, here is a podcast consisting solely of your two most favourite and most eloquent hosts from the podcast. So enjoy, and I'm going to leave you with a sneaky little stealth recording I took. This was taken shortly after Heather repacked her bags for the second time, and shortly before she repacked them for the third. Enjoy!
All this for a country in summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems fine.
It's going to be like 20 degrees, I think, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll normally probably just wear that, I guess.
Okay.
Well, going there, do I wear that and that, or this and that? This will be more comfortable on the aeroplane there. Will I be warm enough? You're telling me I'm going to be really cold right now.
Yeah, only getting there, and
Yeah,
you're gonna have your suitcase with you when we get to the airport. You can make your mind up then.
Well, no, but to get there, I need to wear something there now.
Right. Okay.
So these then, and then the warm.
It's winter in England. Dress accordingly.
Well, I can't because then.
It's been 37 hours of travel. Kia ora. Welcome to what I'm almost tempted to call the deep vein thrombosis diaries. So, we're doing a thing. We're doing a thing for our trip to New Zealand and Fiji. I'm here with Heather.
Hello.
And, we've just done, 28 hours of actual flying and then lots of other travelling and stopping over, and feel great.
Yeah, not too bad for 38, as you said. 37 hours of travelling. I'm very looking forward to not wearing a pair of pants.
I'm looking forward to sleeping lying down.
Had a very enjoyable shower. My hair is nice and clean. I feel very lovely right now. We've got a beer.
We've got beer, and we're currently in our hotel room in sunny Queenstown, New Zealand. About ready to check the place. I mean, we haven't actually done any of the holiday yet. We just thought we'd come walk you through what that journey's like. And I'll tell you what that journey's like. That journey is damp. It's moist. It's a little bit sludgy. There were lots of things I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah.
One of the things I wasn't prepared. I mean, I knew it was going to suck. And on that front, I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah.
Or even remotely surprised. But there were a couple of points.
I mean, the first... So we went from our house in Lewisham, went to Heathrow. Me being me, wanted to be there very early. If you guys listened to our Iceland trip, you would have heard me panicking about getting to the airport in time. So Taran was very nice and let me get there early. So we had lots of time to kill, went for a pint, and went for dinner, then had another pint, and then
Where are we going for a
slowly
pint?
went...
Oh, it's Heathrow, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Heathrow Terminal 3.
Yeah, which Terminal 3's crap. Don't ever go to Terminal 3.
Don't go other places. That's the worst airport I've ever...
It wasn't great. It wasn't very big. Didn't have a pub. We just had to go to like a restaurant place. It wasn't that great. But the food was really, really nice. We ate in some French place.
Yes, it was. I seem to remember eating some food.
Yep.
What was it? What was the food that it doesn't matter. It was French.
Mine was lobster mac and cheese, which was pretty damn tasty. And then we started our journey, which was a 12-hour flight from London Heathrow to Hong Kong. I was not prepared for how hot that flight was going to be. It was hot.
Unnecessarily so, it turns out. I mean, we'll get to that. But my God, when I said, like, it's a damp, moist affair, it is. Oh, man, that first flight. And especially, like, I'd opted not to sleep, because I figured if I sort of slept later, I'd try to
feel better.
Yeah, sort of miss out some of this jet lag bollocks.
That people keep talking about.
Which, I mean, I get it. I mean, it's now... I mean, I've had, 5 hours sleep? 5 hours broken sleep over the past...
2 nights, technically.
Slightly more than 37 hours, more, closer to 48, I guess.
Yeah.
Just shy of. And, I definitely feel it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, all this sort of confusion and destruction people go through.
Yeah, I don't feel too...
It's just fucking go to some raves, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Or work till 3 a.m. making costumes. Like, I feel less broken now than I have done on very long hours of work.
This does feel sort of towards end of week, a production week sort of thing. That sort of level. Nothing can't be handled. Although, okay, so a couple of issues ago, a question came up about, what was it? Buyer's remorse. And I don't know, I sort of had a little exercise in, because like my whole thing was I don't really have buyer's remorse that often. I only really buy things, spend money on things where I've thought about it for a while. But at Heathrow, bought one of those neck pillows. And I bought one that was, it had venting in the side, because I didn't like the idea of getting a fucking grim neck, and it was all, this special kind of foam, and it's sealed at the front. And there wasn't a price for it at all. And when I scanned it, and it sort of came up, 40 quid, 41.99. I looked at it and I immediately thought about that buyer's remorse thing. It's like, okay, finally I've got something to contribute. But actually, no, it's pretty fucking solid, to be honest.
The pound shop neck pillow that my mum bought me from Poundland, it was fucking horrendous in comparison to yours, and I was very jealous and kept looking at you sleeping wearing your one on the second flight, which was from Hong Kong to Auckland, which was 10 hours.
Didn't feel like it.
No, that went a lot quicker. You slept for most of it.
Yes.
It took me 5 hours to watch Logan because I kept falling asleep and then rewinding it back to where I remember, then watched it for a little bit, then fell asleep, then rewound it back a bit more, then watched it and fell asleep. So, yeah, it took me 5 hours to watch that film, but it was a really good film. Quite enjoyed it. That was good.
Yeah, no, there's actually loads of good films. I can't remember.
Yeah, we watched Passengers.
Oh, Passengers.
On the Hong Kong flight.
Arrival was better.
Yeah. No, I didn't watch that.
Oh, Arrival's wicked. A linguist and a quantum physicist are brought in by the army because some aliens have turned up. And they want to talk to them. And, that's pretty much that. It's a fucking awesome film. But I spent, pretty much that first flight. So that first flight going to Hong Kong, pretty much everything was either I was watching a film, because I figured I'd fall asleep doing anything else, or I was spending more time willing the girl next to me, because I was in the middle of the 3 seats. So you were next to the window, Heather, and then there was a girl who was on the aisle. And so there was just other times of that flight, must have spent cleared at least a good 2 of the 12 hours willing this girl to wake up so I could go and fart loudly in the toilet. And it was, that was a real surprise, because I didn't have it in me to fart in a pressurised cabin.
Oh, I was totally farting quite a bit on that flight to Hong Kong.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't smell it, and usually it's quite obvious when you do.
No, I was doing lots of little farting. It was alright.
Okay, fairties. I'll tell you what though, something happened on the flight. So we got into Auckland, and then we did like a little sort of hour and a half, 2 hour flight down to South Island in Queenstown where we are now. And something happened on that final flight. I don't know what happened, but there's been some sort of chemical reaction, and like by the time I got to Queenstown, all that combined flying, same pair of trousers for, like I said, 37 hours at this point.
I changed my trousers and my pants and my socks halfway through.
See, I
He changed his socks and then didn't change anything else.
I decided to contain the issue because I figured it'd go wrong at some point. I didn't know that changing the trousers would solve that, unless I also had access to like chemical weapons, like wet wipes and the like. But no, by the time like I went to the loo in Queenstown, and things had just gone full Geneva Convention. It was pretty fucking brutal. I don't know. Even though I'd go to the toilet to fart, it felt like I'd spent the past 37 hours farting on my junk, and that particular piquant aroma that was entirely new to me. Entirely new. I mean, I've done sweaty mess boxes before, but that was really quite something special. So that's why I was the first into the shower when we got here, and I had a look and I saw it was big enough for the two of us, and it just wasn't. There was no way I wasn't going to subject anyone else to that. But I don't know. That's flying.
I mean, flying into Queenstown was pretty amazing. Because it's a really small town, it's a really small airport, and there's just mountains everywhere and all snowy little tops to them. It was amazing. It was so beautiful watching all these mountains like appear. The side of the plane we were on, we didn't see any of North New Zealand when we were flying over it. We could only see the sea. And then as we got to the south of the island, then got to see New Zealand from a height. And it was beautiful. It was something. And then, like landing, we were like sitting having a beer at the airport, and there's just like all you can see around you is mountains, and then like a aeroplane, maybe a helicopter, maybe a really small aeroplane, and that is it. There's no like big horrible airport crappy shit, and it's really close to the town, so you don't have to like travel far.
No, it's just nothing but underpants madness. So I don't know. Like, this is the first time I've done long haul travel.
Yeah,
it was nowhere near as bad as I thought. I was expecting it to fully all the way suck. I mean, it did for you. You were constantly suffering from the looks of things. It's just always your head or your stomach or something was going wrong. So. And then, of course, the final flight to Queenstown. It wasn't really either of those things. It was the fact that I was absolutely annihilating you at Carcassonne. But that's it. We're here, and we've yet to have our adventures. And we're going to finish this beer, and we're going to go have a look around the town, and then
get ready for skydiving tomorrow.
Oh fuck yeah! That's the first thing we're doing. The very first thing is a skydive.
15,000 feet skydive.
Okay. I thought it was 14. I mean, I'm sure the 1,000 foot doesn't make any fucking difference whatsoever.
Maybe it was 14. Because I said that to Steve, and they were like, oh, we only did 14. I was like, oh, maybe it is. I don't know. Whatever. Some height. It's going to be fun.
Height. Yeah. Cool. Right.
Catch you later.
Okay. And now we come to our review portion of the Deep Vein Thrombosis Diaries. Heather, Heathrow Airport. How many Yelps out of Yelp would you give? Would you Yelp it?
2.
2? Let's go through this, because, like, fuck me, it doesn't have a pub.
No pub.
No pub. I mean, it also has no pub, and also most of its seating isn't there yet. And it's like, and it has no pub.
Yeah.
And most of it...
There's no pub.
And just
I mean, do you know, even a Hong Kong airport had a pub.
Yeah, it had machines where you could get 1 minute food with beer included in that.
Yeah, no, do you know what? I'm with you. Heathrow Airport, I'll give it 2 Yelps out of Yelp. Would buy neck pillow again. Cool. What about Hong Kong Airport? They had some nice tea china.
Yeah, they had some really pretty tea china.
The tea silver wasn't quite as impressive.
No, but the ceramic was really pretty, and they had a water fountain with an ice machine that you could fill up your water bottles. I was pretty
They had
impressed
a water fountain with as in like that you could fill up
you
from.
could fill up your
as in not
bottles.
like a water feature.
No.
Right, okay, I got really confused there.
your
So,
bottles.
is that? I completely missed that.
Which in Heathrow you could not do. So I liked the fact that I could get free water and not have to pay for water.
They didn't seem to mind us eating oranges. Which isn't to say that any other airport would, but, you know.
They weren't bothered about
We
our
definitely
orange
ate oranges at Hong Kong Airport, and nobody said anything.
Yep.
So we'll give them that. And although we didn't see the big fish tank, there was definitely a fish tank.
A fish tank, yeah. Fish tank was nice. It's pretty good.
And also, when you land there, you get to like come in really like meters above the water before the runway starts.
So the
That's
runway
pretty cool.
starts like on the sea, which was pretty cool. I liked that. That was nice. It's a pretty good airport. Quite enjoyed that. It's quite nice.
Yeah, but I think mostly the most impressive thing of all of it, like, it's not the size. It's not like, you know, the identical tower blocks in the background or the beautiful hills or or just the busy waters all around it. The most impressive thing is probably that little China tea set that looked like a cat when you put the cups up against it. Cool. I'll give that.
Very cute.
I don't know. I'll give it a 3 Yelps out of Yelp.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Sweet.
And there you have it. Our reviews of Heathrow Terminal 3 and Hong Kong Airport. Cool. And welcome back from that distraction. I say this without knowing even remotely how I'm formatting this yet. So that could have just been a really raw smash cut. But anyway, welcome back to the Deep Vein Thrombosis, the DVT Diaries. Because we've done more flying.
Yep.
Last time we spoke to you, we had done 3 flies.
Yep.
We have now done... we've actually now done... I was about to say it too. We've now done another 3 flies.
Yeah.
Because, we landed in Queenstown, which is
it's fucking beautiful. It's so amazing.
It is beautiful,
so lovely.
but it's like adventure tourist mecca.
Yeah,
but
it's just such an incredible place to start a holiday. So beautiful, massive lakes, mountains everywhere, just so much to do. Like a small little town, you can easily like walk around and find loads of fun things to do and spend lots of money at.
The mountains are called the Remarkables.
Yep.
Which
brilliant
is there's a lot of really odd naming conventions in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like one of the fjords is called Doubtful Sounds.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It's such. It sounds so unsure, doesn't it? It's like, are we going to find the fjord there? Oh, we'll give it a shot.
Well,
sometimes depends if it's a blood moon or not. Have you done any sacrifices? Because we won't otherwise.
Well, Doubtful Sounds, it's been said that it's only good to see it if it's a really shit day.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not raining, you can't see half of the waterfalls at Doubtful Sounds. So literally there's no point going unless it's a shit awful day that's really cloudy and really rainy.
Good thing we didn't make it over there because it has been fucking gorgeous.
Hot and lovely.
It really has.
Sunny.
Constantly. Let's talk about the last couple of days then.
Yeah.
After our last recording, we went out. We found Well, I got excited about Whiskey Room.
It said a whiskey bar and
with
had
shit
like
tons of whiskey.
3 whiskies.
And then we went and had a fat steak.
Yep.
Which is pretty good.
Recommended place for a steak. Atlas Bar. It's a pretty nice bar. Steak was alright. The thing I had the other day that was even nicer. I don't know what that was. What was it?
I have pulled pork, some bullshit.
Yeah, that was tasty as fuck.
Smash sandwich, yeah. No, I mean, so after that, actually, I'll tell you what, also after that, like, the jet lag did kick in a little bit, because we were fucking tired.
Yeah, I mean, we were, like, asleep by 9:30 in the evening.
And I'd like to say I fucking toughed it out until, at least 11 o'clock, but I think the second you came in, fell asleep,
Yeah.
I also fell asleep because I woke up, TV on, light on, beer unfinished, fully clothed, feeling shit, which I hoped was going to be a short-term thing, but it wasn't. Because I woke up the next day ill.
Yeah.
I'm still like not 100%, but
Yeah,
like
same.
throat was all swolled.
And then we got a bit ill from...
Swolled?
Yep, that works. And then we got a bit ill from the long-ass flights and just... smoking in people's
shitty
crap. No,
but,
breathing in.
When you do that much flight, you are basically smoking
other
doobies of other
people's-
people's funk.
Yeah,
Just constant
yeah.
recycled bullshit.
We got pretty ill. We felt pretty shit. And then we went skydiving.
So yeah, that was kind of exceeded things a little, because the original idea was to go skydiving the day after we get there to really just blow the jet lag
Yeah.
out of our asses. And also, I assumed I was going to be quite hungover as well, because I was flying for hours and all I do on planes is drink. Only I didn't this time, but I
it
think
wasn't free.
I think I still somehow managed to be a little hungover.
Yeah,
And I don't know, possibly a little chicken, but definitely ill.
yeah.
Definitely ill.
Oh, here's some free wine, but yeah.
So, and yeah, like, we went for the skydive. The place we were skydiving, they cancelled our session because the winds just picked up. So they fucked
We
us
had
off
to,
on another
yeah,
one.
run across the road and instantly jump on a bus that was leaving 2 minutes ago to get on to be able to go skydiving that day. And ended up skydiving over Wanaka Lake, which was not... We were trying to go over some like mountains and glaciers and shit, but it was still pretty good. It was pretty
yeah,
lovely.
I mean, we did.
Fucking terrifying.
No, it wasn't.
It was for the bit.
I mean, so the coolest thing about that for me is I was the last one. So there were 2 ranks on the plane. There are the 12,000 foot dives, and then there was us who was doing 50,000 foot. And I was the last of the 50,000 footers on. So I was sat right next to this see-through Rolodex door, rather. So I could, I watched the takeoff and flight in full through this window. And then I had front row centre seats for watching people
Jump out.
which
Doing
was
12.
wicked. We met a dude there who was just came just down the road from us.
Yep.
I won't say where, but actually from Chris Bugg's neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was fucking a wicked moment of he was excited to begin with, and then as we got higher and higher, I sort of look over, and he was just obviously shitting his pants by the end. But yeah, it was really weird. I don't know if it was because of the cold or whatever, but I didn't at any point really get excited. But I didn't
You
get
don't get
nervous.
excited about things anyway.
Sometimes I get excited about things. But then, you're right, actually. That's pretty sound description. I don't tend to get too excited about things. But there was... Oh, that was it. We were sort of going through the waiver forms.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And it was all out fraud on my behalf, because it says, if you have a back injury, you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm still going to do it. That
was on one side, and then
they say, that was sort of we suggest you don't. And then on the other side, get to the bottom of it and read this thing. I sort of get Heather's attention and point at it. And there's this moment of us both staring wide-eyed at it, look at each other, look back at it, and then shrug and just pretend we haven't seen it. Which was, if you have a cold or a flu or
a sore throat
or any sort of congestive thing,
like any sinus problems, you absolutely can't
should not do this.
do the height that we were doing, because you have to have an oxygen tank and it will fuck up your sinuses. And we were just signing it being like, shit, we really shouldn't do this. And at one point when doing the dive, like, I felt my sinuses like exploding in my face.
Yeah.
And was very like, shit, yeah, no, I probably shouldn't have just done that. That hurt quite a bit. But hey, it was still fucking incredible, so hey, whatever.
Yeah, no, the actual dive itself, it was, I mean, I got a little flutter of nerves shortly before the jump.
Yeah.
Shortly before the door opened for our round. And then when it actually came to sort of going to do it, because the thing is, like, when you're sat there, they eventually, you're cinched so tightly.
Yeah.
You feel like you're just cuddled.
Yeah, you're just being cuddled by this stranger.
Which, yeah, they've been talking to you the entire time, so it feels, you feel fine. And then there's that moment of, like, sitting on the edge of the plane. And I should have looked down, but I had my head back, because I didn't want my... There's a launch position.
Yeah, there's a
that they
position
ask you
you're
to
meant to be
take.
sitting in, and it's having your head back and on the person's shoulder behind you. And we got to the edge, and I was fully like looking down, looking around, looking all over the place, like, oh my god, look at this view. And then he had to grab my head and push my head onto his shoulder so we could jump out of the plane. And then you're doing the free falling.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, so that first moment, there's like 2 to 5 seconds of utter confusion.
Yeah.
As, like, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you stabilise and you're facing the earth.
Yeah.
And nothing really seems to be moving that much. Apart from the air.
Yeah.
The air is definitely...
face is going all over the place.
Yeah.
My goggles, like, nearly blew off my face and I had to, like, rejig them. As I said, my sinuses was exploding. My ears, like... popped and I couldn't unpop them for a while.
Oh
like,
man, I didn't have full hearing again until the next day.
Yeah. But you're just doing this like incredible free fall. We paid for having a photographer come, so we had a second person skydiving to take videos and photos of us. So you're diving while there's this other person diving and spinning around you, taking photos and stuff. You were grabbing onto your camera guy's feet.
I was. Yeah.
Having a bit of a lovely time. He was going, he was free falling upside down for shits and giggles, I guess.
And then...
Parachute.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you just spent some time dangling.
And then my guy was really cool. He was like, oh, there's a couple of like moves you can do in the parachute. He was like, oh, spin this way, spin that way. And he was like, oh, I like this one. Some people feel really sick doing this one, but I'll see if you like it. And he did something like, I don't know, pulled the parachute in such a way that we were not being like taken by the wind by our parachute. Our parachute was like collapsed for a second, so we were free falling again for like a couple of seconds, and then he like grabbed the parachute back up again, and then we were then like parachuting down again, and that was absolutely incredible. That was so much fun, and he was doing like twists and turns and other little fun things, which was really cool. He was really lovely, like dreadlocked guy. And then you land down, and Harren managed to in his landing ended up with his parachute on top of him while coming down very hard on his bottom. But I ended up, you're meant to come down and like land on your bottom, but for some reason, I don't know if I was like strapped too high to this guy, like he took the full weight on his butt. Like I don't think I felt the ground until I was like fully on the ground.
That was pretty much our first day.
Yeah.
Like, after that, we went and had dinner at a sake bar called Yakitori Daruma, which, if you're ever in, like, knock me up for that recommendation. It's well worth the time. Next day was is an interesting one.
So we had planned to go to Milford Sounds, which has this cool aquarium.
It's a fjord with an underwater aquarium.
Yeah, which is just like a massive glass tunnel, so you can see the sea life, and that is the aquarium. And you can go on cruises, and we were talking about maybe going kayaking there and stuff. And we hadn't booked a hire car because we thought that because you don't, you just fucking turn up and pick up a hire car.
If you ever need a hire car, you just go to the hire car place and you get a hire car. There's always hire cars.
But there was in fact a 5k, 10k, half marathon and full marathon.
Just a full marathon.
And the whole town was on lockdown. There was, no vacancies in any hostels, no hire cars at all till Monday.
That was a morning of... We changed our entire plan.
Yeah.
On this one moment, and we weren't left wanting.
No.
And formulating a new plan took all of a coffee or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember when we actually did it.
I think before we even went to get the coffee we formulated, I think in the information.
Yeah, that was it. Before the last hire place we were going to check out opened up, we went via an information page to see if we could book ourselves onto a coach to Milford Sound.
Yeah.
I was just picking up a bunch of leaflets.
Well, they're things that we'd looked at beforehand.
Yeah.
Before we'd come. We just picked up a bunch of leaflets and were like, yeah, okay, let's just do these things then. Yep, cool, sweet, done.
Yeah, which was wicked. So, like, that day, instead of going to the fjords, which would have been massively stressful
it was like a 5-hour drive.
Instead, we had a really fucking chill picnic lunch by the lakeside.
Yeah.
Bit of sunbathing. Fucked around with some ducks.
Yeah.
Before going to have a look at some actual live kiwis.
Yeah, conservation. Place. Saw some cute kiwis. They're a lot larger than we thought they were
really
going to be.
Also,
they're really cute and entirely nocturnal, so you have to look at them in pitch black.
Yeah.
Which also I didn't have a fucking clue about either.
They're also members of the was it the reptile families or the cactus? I can't remember. But the same family of birds as ostriches and cassowaries. Which if you don't know, cassowaries they're the big flightless bird of Australia. Big colourful things on their heads.
Yeah.
They are in fact they're closer to the velociraptors from Jurassic Park than actual velociraptors are. Like these things are known for just opening dudes up with a kick. It's just like these cute little kiwis with their cute little noses digging around in the soil looking for grubs. Same family, which comes into stark relief when one of the things, like after the feeding, there was a conservation show where they kind of showed us bits of other birds and talked us through some of the pest problems. And one of my favourite bits was the video they showed of how kiwis do defend themselves, which is with their legs. But there's a video of a possum trying to go in and take over a kiwi's nest, and the kiwi just fucks it up.
Yeah,
it just really goes at it with its little feet. And just at the end of the video, it's just this possum looking stunned, having no idea what's happened. So yeah, checked out the conservation area, saw a bunch of native birds, and that was really cool.
It was nice fun.
And kiwis, they are adorable.
Yeah.
And then right next to that is the skyline, which are these big gondola things that
takes you up the massive hill.
Yep. Well,
mountain.
A huge fucking mountain. And at the top there's a little luge thing where I don't know how to describe it. It's a
go-karty kind of thing. It was more like the grass sledges I used to.
Like you said, like a plastic grass sledge, and sticking up from the front is a lever with some handlebars. When you pull back on that enough, it puts a wheel down on the front, and that allows you to take off. And then you brake by pulling back harder, and then obviously you can turn. That was actually quite good fun.
Yeah, really good fun. But to get to it, you had to go up a ski lift. So you're already up the mountain, and then you have to sit on a ski lift and to go up further. That was pretty disgusting. Neither of us really enjoyed that.
Ski lifts have always just given me the willies. Yeah. Just kind of being on a bench that's like hanging off a stick on a wire. It just, that doesn't seem like the way to travel anywhere. But fucking conquered that. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. After that, so next day, was the canyon swing.
So that was another thing we added, because we couldn't get the car hire. So we had a morning to kill, so we decided to go and do the canyon swing, which you might have seen on social media. It was around a couple of months ago, with people being kicked out sitting on deck chairs thrown across a canyon.
Yeah, you could have a look at what we did. I believe you could do a YouTube search for shot over canyon swing Oscars, and it's like an 8-minute montage of just the people who scream the most.
Yeah.
Like the instructors who've been like the worst dicks. And just other buffoonery that goes on. So you're on a built platform that just peaks over a canyon. I can't remember how big the drop was.
Yeah.
It was high.
Yeah.
Not as high as a plane high, but it's still looking down. That's not survivable.
Yeah.
at all. And you're in a harness with some lines attached to you. And the idea is you jump off this thing, you free fall for about 6 seconds before the tension of the lines picks up, and then you enter this swing.
Yeah.
I have never been so close to losing my composure in a harness in my entire life. We did it fairly fuss-free.
I was not fuss-free. I was not fuss-free at all.
I didn't. No, we were compared to the others.
Well, yeah, okay. We were screaming and holding.
No, we were just going along with it. But
I was panicking.
The instructions are such dicks. They're constantly trying to get in your head and terrify you.
Yeah.
So we did a tandem backwards jump.
So you have to like lean back like you're doing abseiling over this canyon, and then you've then got to jump away from the thing. And they make it really sound like if you don't jump enough, like you have to lean back, and if you don't jump enough, you're gonna like hit your face on the platform as you go down. Like they're absolutely terrifying me, being like, I'm not going to jump enough, and
they're
this
properly
is gonna,
getting in your head,
like absolutely screw me over, and we're gonna like really hurt ourselves. So they're leaning back with like they're holding on to us while we're leaning back and like telling us if we're doing it good enough and we're leaning back enough, and I'm panicking a little bit, and then jump away. And as we're jumping away and free falling, I do some kind of like fucking somersault nearly over Taran. and then you're then free falling, and then stopping, and then just swinging around, and then you sit in your harness and then slowly get brought back up again.
Yeah.
With a ripped apart car motor.
Yeah.
They've been using since they started doing this with some guy and a
so
truck.
So essentially what the whole thing started off with is once they set up the rigging for the swing, they would jump off a bridge, and then whoever did the jump, they were attached. They had a tow line that ran back up to the bridge that was attached to a pickup or something, and they just drive the pickup off to tow it back up. And they still use the same stuff. They've just ripped the engine and like the clutch and transmission and whatnot out, and just made a new winch system out of it. But that canyon swing, those 6 seconds of free fall, it's the first time I've been genuinely terrified. Yeah, that really, really, and it's fucking stayed with me as well. Like it's like, it annoys me that it scared me. Yeah. And I didn't get round to having a second jump like you did, Heather. Yeah. Because like by the time I got back up, I was trembling, and the bottle and a half of red wine I'd had the night before had come knocking. I was like, if I do another jump, there's a legitimate concern that I'm going to make a mess, not just of myself, but of the entire fucking canyon. Like, I was envisioning, like, sprays of shit coming from my, from the bottom of my trousers. It was too close. So I didn't end up doing a second, and it's bugged the shit out of me ever since.
It was fucking hard doing that second one. Like, I was battling myself quite a bit. Yeah. And then talking through, because there's thousands of different ways you can jump off of this canyon, basically. They've got loads of different ones that they recommend, different, like, techniques, and then you can make up your own ones. People like Olympic fucking gymnasts and swimmers do like 1,000,000 somersaults off of the edge of the canyon. You can go off in a chair, you can go off in a tricycle, you can do a handstand off of it. Like, there's thousands of different ways. And one of them was the pin drop, where you've got your hands tied behind your back and you kind of just jump off to the side. And that was the one originally that I was like, yeah, I want to do that one. That sounds really cool. And then when we then did the first one, and I was like, I don't think I can jump off the edge again. Like, it was hard enough doing that backward jump off the edge, and I was attached to Taran. Yeah. Like, I don't think I can do that jump, like, on my own. I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm just going to do it where there's one where you just sit down, and then they just cut the rope, and then you just free fall for a bit, and then you swing. But then the guys were like, you can't do that. Like, you've just done one that's even harder than that. Like, you've got to do one that's more challenging, and you've got to do different ones. You're never allowed to do the same thing twice, and you've got to do, like, the harder one the next one. And then one of the guys was like, okay, cool, we'll do a slide. So they put a slide, and then you slide down a slide and then fall into the canyon. And one of the other guys was like, no, you're not doing that. Like, that's shit. Do the pin drop. Just do it. Like, you want to do it. And I was on the edge for like minute or so being like, okay, I can't do this, go get the slide. And they're like, no, it takes too long to fucking prepare it. I can't be bothered. Just fucking jump off the side. And I'm like proper panicking. I eventually managed to do it. It was fucking cool. It was hard going.
Yeah.
And fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, after we came back from that, again, the second I get a chance to do another swing,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely going to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let no fucker get into my head, because I will do that plenty myself. But I want to learn, teach myself to enjoy that free fall experience. Anyway, after that, we ended up meeting up with your mate Toby. Now, this is all while the fucking marathon shit's going on around town. But we met up with your mate, who was a dude you went to uni with. You haven't seen for what, 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just happened to be working like, at Wanaka Lake, which is
he's been living there for the last couple of months, and met up with him, and he drove us to a beautiful lake.
Yeah, Moke Lake, which is somewhere we wouldn't have found at all.
Yeah, just a little half an hour drive south of Queenstown, really. It was a beautiful, smaller lake.
Basically no one there.
Yeah, a couple of people kayaking around it.
A handful of families paddling around.
Yeah.
Other than that, most of the life there was like ducks. On the horse farm or ducks. So yeah, we had a bit of a trek around that.
Yep.
Maybe half-hour walk, get to the other side where there was nobody.
Yeah.
And went for a swim in this lake. Proper. I mean, yeah. I started to get over my discomfort of swimming when I can't see the bottom.
Yeah.
Sort of swam out for a little bit like further than I've ever really swam out before. And I now just want to like fucking swim across a lake.
Yeah.
At some point. But that was fucking beautiful. Like,
such clear water,
cold,
but so fucking cold.
Yeah, like once you get in, like
it's such a hot day as well. And then as soon as you're out, you're like, oh, I'm really hot again. And then I was like, let's go for another dunk in the lake again. And they go, okay, why did I do that? Get back out.
It's just like you see, there's all this shit. I've seen videos and hear tell of these mad cunts in Norway who go out and break the ice.
Yeah, fuck knows how they do that. Like, that lake was so cold. I couldn't do any colder than that.
The thing is, I found, like, once I got into my stroke, there's a moment as you get to the point where you can't see the bottom, the temperature kind of drops a bit further so that your forehead starts doing weird things and feeling very odd indeed. But then, like, once you get into your stroke proper, it's alright. Yeah. Like, you're still really cold, but your body at that point is generating so much heat that it's only on the surface, the cold. So it doesn't feel too bad. And got out far enough that, you two were looking very small to me. But it was just fucking stunning. It's the only time I've ever been swimming where if, like, the water got into my mouth, it tasted nice.
Yeah.
Like, you do that at, like, even the lake at Boom.
Yeah.
But other than that, like swimming or at a swimming pool or like at the sea, like that goes in your mouth, it tastes like garbage. Yeah. That water tasted fucking fresh. Yeah. Which mostly because it's like a lot of it's like
glacier runoff.
Glacier melt or peak melt. That was fucking wicked.
And then we finished the day off with a bit of stargazing. Fucking beautiful amount of stars in Queenstown.
Yeah. Oh, you had a better look at the stars
the other night. One of the other nights.
Yeah. And so we got back. So we were in a new place. We had to get
move hostels.
One night into an actual hostel.
Yeah. Rather
than in a hotel B&B. And this place was wicked. Like really well appointed and whatnot. But when we were there, like, it kind of hit a point where, like, I'd learned that Auckland wasn't the capital of New Zealand. The first time I turned on the TV, right? The weather was on. They said, now for the temperature in our capital. And they started talking about Wellington. It's like, what the fuck do you mean Wellington's the capital? Like, me, prick that I am, it's like, they got the international airport. Auckland must be the capital.
Yeah.
So, like, found that out, and then also I'd heard people before say, yeah, there's not really a lot going on in Auckland.
Yeah, we have constantly had people telling us Auckland was really shit.
Yeah, you met a dude at the at the reception of this hostel, which is like, yeah, no, I've just come from Auckland, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And there was a girl in our dorm, Noriko,
who was studying in Auckland, and she told us not to go anywhere near Auckland.
So, you know, that day we've had to, like, we've rejigged our plan.
Yeah.
So, we're now only spending, I think, the last 2 nights in Auckland. We're spending extra time in, what's the name? Raglan, which is the place after, Wellington. And then we're spending, a night in, Rotorua.
Yeah, lake.
Which is a lake. It's also the place, if you've ever seen any footage of tribal Maori life, the village that's all filmed at is there.
Yeah. So we get to go to there.
And that was, that was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed that because I can't even remember how we decided that, we need to change the plan. Just after dinner, it was like, okay, we're changing the plan.
Yeah.
And it was just a simple matter of going, we'll spend more time in Raglan. We'll do this, like, just do it so that there's one full day in Auckland, because there'll be something to do.
Yeah.
And then we'll just figure everything else out as we go along.
Yeah.
And it just, like, came up with a really simple plan of, step one, can we extend the load of the car? Can we extend our place in Raglan? If we can't, can we get, like, a place somewhere else? Sweet. Then reduce our stay in Auckland, and then tell everyone that we're going to see there. And it was just like, it's a really simple process that we did this morning.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Just, this plan that we've had for ages, just going, fuck it.
Yeah.
And just, like, changing it. Like, in a way, I feel is, like, quite significant.
Yeah, I mean, we've been developing this holiday.
Yeah.
Because we were going to do something different before we even booked it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, before we were spending, was it 4 or 5 nights?
4 nights in a place that everyone's told us is shit and not to go.
Yeah. So just all rejigging that. It was really nice and easy. Not like, so all you need is a little bit of internet, although most of it we did over the phone anyway.
Yeah.
But I personally just found that quite interesting, quite enjoyable. So just, if you ever worry too much about the plan on your holidays going forward, just don't.
Yeah, we booked all of our accommodation we did on booking.com with free cancellation. So we have been able to go, oh yeah, this accommodation we want next week, we've now changed our mind. Or we can go on and book it and cancel it for free.
I mean,
fucking love booking.com.
Well, it's not just booking.com. Like a lot of places just have free cancellation up to a certain point.
Yeah.
Just fucking utilize it. If it looks like something's going to be bullshit, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do something else. Nice and simple. Was there anything else you wanted to add about the Queenstown leg of the journey?
No, I mean, it's just beautiful. I highly recommend going, and I fucking want to go back again.
Yeah, it is super, super touristy, but...
It wasn't a problem, like, it didn't bother me at all. Like, I didn't feel touristy. Like, there's like a shit ton of shops.
I think it's probably because we were tourists.
Yeah, like, there's a shit ton of shops that are all selling you bungee jumps and jet boat rides and paragliding, parasailing and all of this and skydiving and stuff. But it was all fucking stuff we want to do. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So like, oh my god, well, we could also do this jet skiing, and like, it would be really cool to go to Milford Sounds. Like, definitely go back and go to Milford Sounds. Maybe do one of the jet skis, or do the canoeing.
Yeah, it's
on
just...
Franz Josef Glacier, like, go spend a day, like, a drive there and spend a night there before then heading off and stuff like that, like, would be really cool.
Queenstown was pretty fucking special. It's definitely, like, adventure tourism, but it caters for all levels of adventure.
Yeah.
Like, if your idea of adventure is, doing a cruise on a fjord.
Yeah.
Then, fine. That's there for you.
Yeah.
If you want to jump into a tiny little capsulized powerboat, or go parasailing, or do some full-on motocross over mountains, or anything like to do with jumps, that's also there. Like, if you ever fancy somewhere that's just going to be a lot of fun, challenge you, at any stage, like, Queenstown seems to be the place to do it.
Yeah, just beautiful walks and mountains.
Although if you're into skiing, we have it on good authority. Don't bother with Queenstown. Go to Lake Wanaka up the road.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's Queenstown done.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you once we're done with Wellington.
Yeah. Bye.
And welcome back to our review section. We'll be kicking off the proceedings with our review of the Queenstown Airport.
Freaking amazing. Good food.
It's
Small.
Fucking banging sandwiches.
Shit ton of mountains for everywhere where you can see.
It's
Planes.
pretty in the background, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Food's good.
Oh, we already
Good.
tried.
Good.
Yeah, good all over. The beer is eventually. I mean, that one restaurant. If you do ever go to Queenstown, you can't really miss it because Arrivals.
The only restaurant in Arrivals.
Oh yeah, the second
Or
you come,
Departures.
the second you come through Arrivals, it's right there on right hand. It's big, and the sandwiches are banging.
Oh, the chips were so good.
The chips were they're pretty good.
Tomato sauce, the homemade tomato sauce. You were pretty impressed by the tomato sauce.
No, I was. I mean, for once, it is a tomato sauce that sounded like it had actually been introduced to tomatoes at some point.
It had seeds inside it and stuff.
Yeah. I will say this: if you are the sort of person to get annoyed with foodstuffs coming in things they don't usually come in, maybe. I mean, I marked it down. Well, I mean, for instance, like Heather, you're scowling at me, but the chips came in a fucking tin mug.
It's because it was all really vintage and all vintage planes.
Yeah, but chips don't. You don't serve chips in cups, though, do you?
Well, there was the option of a cup of it or a bowl of them, but they were the options, but they were all like the old white with blue brim, World War II.
Yeah. And also the
things.
pints. So one of the first things.
Well, no one has a pint here. No one knows what a pint is in this place.
Completely metric over here. So everything's 500ml, and it's amazing the difference that 65ml makes.
I want a fucking pint.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, I'm going to give Queenstown Airport. We're rating it Yelps, so I'm going to give it a solid 50-12 Yelps out of Yelp.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right to you?
Good.
Yeah,
Good
cool.
for me.
Lovely. Sweet. Did we really see enough of Christchurch Airport to
No, so
Yelp
we
review it?
came in on gate 7. So we came in on gate 19 and was running around going, we have half an hour to get to our other gate. Where's this other gate? And then seeing a sign saying 20 to 25 that way. Where's 19 then? And then just turn round.
Turn to the right. And it's like, well, there's 18, there's 17, there's 16. It's like, fuck. And the arrow's pointing off to the lower numbers. Like, oh shit.
And then,
I was just somewhere like really awkward, isn't it? And it's just that moment of just both turning around at the same time. It's like, oh, okay, cool. We've just come out of gate 19.
Yeah, we're just getting back on the exact same plane we got off on. And then we had a beer while waiting to get on, and that was all we saw of Christchurch. I mean,
to be fair, it was the only place I found the bottle of beer was the Captain. I think it was Captain Cooker.
Yeah.
The Manuka beer. Yeah. Which is actually pretty nice. I mean, we didn't really spend any real amount of time in Christchurch, but I'm happy to give it like maybe Beans Yelps out of Yelp.
Yep, sweet, cool.
Wicked, cool. All right, and then again, we didn't spend a huge amount of time there, but Wellington
has a massive eagle sculpture with Gandalf driving it. Yeah, driving.
He's driving. I mean, he's got. It's a really impressive sculpture actually, because like with his right hand, Gandalf is thrusting out his staff, which is lit up, and then with his other hand, Gandalf is like shifting down a gear. And he's just like, you can see him kicking out with his leg to like pull a massive Yui with his eagle. It's really impressive. The fucking LED strip lighting he's got, underlighting he's got on the eagle as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. That was cool.
That was cool. Fucking chrome tipped wings.
Yeah. And the baggage lobby, the carpet was decorated like stone flooring, which I found quite comical.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was meant to look like stones, like a medieval stone floor, but really badly done. I don't know, I found that quite interesting.
Okay.
We didn't have a beer in Wellington, so don't know about the beer front, but
No, but I mean, it
was easy to get a bus.
They've really leaned into like the Lord of the Rings thing. Now,
Yeah.
more than
Well, no, where did we saw something else from Lord of the Rings in Auckland?
But we'll be going back through Auckland. So
Yeah.
look out for our yelping of Auckland soon for Wellington.
Yep.
What would you say? I'd happy to give it like a solid 3 shall pass Yelps out of Yelp.
Yep. Sweet. Sounds
Cool.
good.
Wicked.
Cool.
All right, that's our Yelp reviews of
At the moment.
of Queenstown, Christchurch, and Wellington airports. Okay then, Heather. It's time for the review section. And our first review is going to be for the first game we played at Counterculture, which is Takanoko. So Takanoko, as a board game, is 2 to 4 players, and they're all sort of helping to build a hex grid, and each grid has its own colour that has to be irrigated, and then we grow bamboo. And like the board is grown collectively, but we each have our own objectives, and basically it's to score the most points from your objectives for the game. It's a pretty cool little game.
It's very cute. You have a little panda that eats all the bamboo.
Yeah.
It's very adorable and very nice and simple to play, but also has like some tactics behind it if you think about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good fun
So-
little game to get into.
Yeah, so I mean, the premise of it is all based around, like, the central hex is a water feature, and then you place bamboo hexes, plots around it, and then you got 3 colours, pink, green, and yellow. And yeah, so objectives include plots in certain configurations, and then another set of objectives are the panda objectives, which is feeding the panda the right sort of bamboo. And then there is gardener objectives, I can't really remember what to call them, but basically growing the right sort of bamboo in the right sort of conditions.
Environments.
Yes, and the whole thing, actually, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it quite as much as I did. It's, as Heather said, it's a pretty easygoing game, but there's just enough there to keep you interested. It's like it could be a fucking wicked one to play with, like, the family.
Yeah.
Or, even if you're, like, if it's just like 2, 3, 4 of you, and you're a bit drunk, there's enough there. It's easy enough to play when a little inebriated, but there's enough there to keep you interested. And it also is actually quite satisfying to build, because bamboo is built from these little wooden pegs that it literally grows upwards. So towards the end of the game, you've got this game board built that you've built together, you've irrigated together, and the bamboo grows upwards, so you end up with quite like a
Towers of bamboo.
It's a really satisfying board to look at.
City of bamboo.
And the panda Takanoko is very cute.
Yeah.
So all in all,
Very, very good game.
yeah, I mean, how many what sort of Yelp score would you give it?
30 Yelps out of Yelp.
30 Yelps.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 Yelps is a good Yelps. I'd give it 5 weather conditions and a mystery out of Yelps.
Cool.
Which you will understand when you get the game. Also, quick review for New World. New World is like the go-to supermarket in New Zealand.
It's pretty amazing.
Fuck me, the deli counter.
I took a picture of all of the different types of dairy milk chocolate they sell. And Kit Kat. They have like a million flavours I've never ever seen in my life of dairy milk. An English company, well, it's not English anymore, but original English company, and they have like 7 flavours that I've never had. It's so upsetting. And the amount of Kit Kats, there's so many different Kit Kat flavours. It's so good.
And the thing I've noticed most is there's less variety of brands.
Yeah, and just more different
But that just means
stuff.
the brands themselves offer more variety.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, like
Amazing.
like the chocolate aisle is like a tenth of the size of our chocolate aisles in England, but like they're all amazing different flavours that I've never seen before, and just all the different types of food there are, and you can get everything. You can get sushi, and then deli counter you can get fresh fruit, fresh sandwiches, and fresh
Barbecue pork rib.
lasagna.
Oh my god, just some of the fattest sausage rolls.
And
just the smell of that place.
all of the cakes and crumbles and shortbreads and
was it the chocolate caramel tart thing you got?
oh god.
Oh yeah.
And then the brownie caramel thing. Oh, it's also good. And the bigger the supermarket, the nicer and the more stuff there is. It's great. Love it. Go to New World in New Zealand. It's good.
I mean, there was a sandwich I got before we went to the museum for the first time that was basically an entire focaccia stuffed full of vegetables. Some of these vegetables were curried, some of these were roasted, some of these were lightly fried, but whatever, it was just fucking a shit ton of vegetables in an entire focaccia. First $7.99, which works out as about a £4 sandwich, which is ludicrous because that filled me for the day. In fact, it didn't mention it, but ended up sharing parts of that sandwich with the birds.
Oh yeah.
And saw loads of birds. But yeah, New World supermarkets. I mean, I give them like 3 honking fat smells and 7 overeager deli workers out of Yelp.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I bet it does. Okay, cool. Heather's about ready to fall over, so we call it there. And welcome back to I suppose you can't really call it the DVT diaries anymore because we haven't done any flying. So how do we feel about the Rolling Green Tribunal? As we've seen nothing but rolling green hills all day.
Sounds good.
Cool. So we are coming to you now from Raglan.
Whoop whoop.
We are done with the Wellington leg of the journey. So we'll just have a quick little talk. We're talking a bit quiet because we're recording late and there's a whole thing in our welcome pack about not having late Skype conversations.
So we're going to talk quietly today.
And Heather didn't want to record in the closet.
I don't want to sit in a closet.
I just don't think you don't have enough dedication to the art, baby.
I'm in bed right now. I don't want to be in a closet.
You're
instead.
very much in bed. You're in bed. You're fully in bed. I am not in bed.
I'm drinking how many millilitres?
946 millilitres.
946 millilitre bottle of black lager. Good George.
Black, yeah. So I looked up the significance of 946 millilitres, and the nearest I could find is that it's almost but not quite 32 American fluid ounces. It is in fact 31.99 American fluid ounces.
Where's it made?
New Zealand.
Sweet.
So I have, talking about beer things, so I think when we were back in Queenstown, might be in Wellington, we were bitching about the pint sizes and how that whole 68 mil makes all the difference. It's actually a lot more difference than that.
You're right.
I was talking to the dude at Counterculture, which we'll get to on this bit. But apparently in New Zealand, they're mostly not allowed to pour full pints unless it's for a beer like Heineken, and they have very stringent rules with how the beer should be presented.
Right. Yeah, because the dude in an Irish pub got assy with us because we said that there was too much head in our Heineken, and he said that he could get fired if he gave us a Heineken with anything less than his exact amount of head he was giving.
Yeah, if he fucks it up for a Heineken rep. So apparently in New Zealand, what they've been giving us are Boston pints,
right,
which is 425ml.
Right.
For no, just easily discernible reason.
Yeah.
But that's why it seems so significantly less, because it is significantly less. Yeah. Anyway, we did Wellington, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a very architecturally mismatched city. There's very Shakespearean black and white buildings.
Yeah, so the Tudor Beetham style.
Yeah, next to a very American white picket fence church.
Yeah, so if you imagine Pennsylvanian sort of wood church.
And then next to some very arty glass skyscraper. And then there's a very western whether the front salon kind of buildings, and it's all very mismatched and very odd and entertaining.
And there was also a place that straight up could have come from Spain or Portugal or
many
a South American
all
villa or
together.
something. Yeah, pretty cool. It's as I was expecting, it's going to be a really interesting little city. We were staying at a place called the Waterloo, which was I don't know. I don't know about you. Did you get the feeling that maybe the Waterloo was originally intended to be something a lot grander than it is now?
I think it probably was grand in the 30s.
Yeah, there's a lot of Art Nouveau
a bit
about it.
Fallen apart.
But it
was quirky enough. It was all right.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, there's just enough shunk in obvious places that kind of makes it quite endearing. For instance, the lifts, when they open, they're not quite finished moving yet. Also, the insides quite clearly have carpets stapled to the inside or something.
It's a rug stapled to the wall.
Yeah.
And very 1940s text on the buttons for them, and they're very
had the whole Art Nouveau thing going on, and there's I think on the first floor, in the main stairwell, there's a little bit where there's fucking fire hydrant access, but on it is this glorious brass statuette of this sort of female figure, is all up on her toes, leaning right back, creating almost 70-degree angle with her back, and holding up this sort of giant bulb to light it. Oh. And by the same token,
a really skanky pub.
Well, the pub was all right.
No,
but then
very English skanky pub style though to it.
Right, the windows were old and clunky, and the bedside lights when you turned them on hummed.
Very 80s.
Yeah. And stuff like that.
But we had a queen size bed. It was beautiful and massive. I didn't have to go anywhere near you at night.
Oh, that's interesting. I was going to say the same thing. But first night was alright. We had Subway.
Yep. Another Subway in a different country added to my list.
Mm-hmm.
It was alright. We had everything that the English Subway did not sell.
Did we have the pork rib thing?
Oh.
No.
We had most things that the
pepper
English
chicken
one didn't have.
The seafood special.
What did I have? I don't remember. No, I had the pork thing.
You had the pork thing, that's right, yeah.
And then we had beetroot, and the bread was a garlic bread.
Mm.
They don't have sweet corn. It was an insult.
And I played pool with a guy named Steve, and surprisingly didn't make an absolute fool of myself.
Well done. This poor lad came up to me when I was sitting with 2 beers in front of me.
You say lad, the dude was like probably late 40s, sort of mid 50s.
This chap came up to me and was like, "Oh, you don't seem to be drinking alone." I was like, "Oh no, I'm not." "Oh, do you mind if would you be up for playing a game of pool?" And I was like, "Oh no, I've got a couple of things to do." And he's like, "Oh, the girl you're with, would she mind?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm with my boyfriend. I'll have to ask him, he might not be up for it, but yeah." And this poor guy, he just wanted to have a beer and play pool with somebody. So I went and played a game of pool with him. And
completely different rules.
Yeah.
This is like in our rule, if you fuck anything up, you can confer an extra turn to the other player. With him, the only extra turns is if you pot one of your balls. Other than that, I so it's weird. All the things like
when you do a white.
I potted a white, and he didn't take an extra turn. That sort of thing.
Oh, how weird!
And he seemed
maybe
really
that's
confused.
The difference between that's probably the difference between snooker and pool.
That's not the difference between snooker and pool.
Well, I don't know. I mean.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because that's snooker, more snooker. Anyway,
snooker's
whatever.
Like you have to do it all in number order and shit, don't you? Whereas pool's just colours.
Anyway, so yeah, that was the first night, and then next day we went to Weta Cave. Like Weta is the group that they did all the armour for Lord of the Rings. Yeah, they're like a special effects and practical effects company.
Props, armour and stuff company. And they now have a costume department, and then they now also have like a digital department and a sound department, and it's all under Weta Productions basically. And they did all of the Lord of the Rings, and then since then they've done like the new Blade Runner, they're doing the Thunderbirds TV series, they did the Ghost in the Shell, they did the main what's her fucking name? Scarlett Johansson. They did her main dress, and they did the other like geisha robot people's dresses, and they've done like thousands. They did one of the sequence where in Age of Ultron, where Iron Man and Thor are fighting. They did all of the
that's the first. That's the first film.
I don't know, whatever, that Avengers one.
They've done a whole bunch of stuff,
and
they pop up in places that you wouldn't really expect. They're most famous for Lord of the Rings, which really put them on the map. But since then, they've been going like gangbusters. So the studio tour is basically just kind of it's a small space within the workshop where there are dudes constantly working on CNC machines and whatnot, just fabricating stuff, and you're taken through the process of like from design to first draft to mass production,
final armour costume, and also do like talks about prosthetics, and then very basic costume making. Didn't really say much at all about costume really. I kind of asked the questions. People got to touch a couple of props, talk about 3D printing, and the technique you just said. CNC, and then
it was basically like laser cutting.
And then you watch a little documentary about all of the films and stuff they've worked on, how the company's grown, and then there's a miniature tour thing, which I thought was going to be a miniature tour of all of the miniature stuff they've done. Before we came out, I saw a video on them doing all of the buildings for Blade Runner, and I thought this miniature tour was going to be full of all of these Blade Runner miniatures, and was really fucking excited for it. And then when we got into the country, realised that it's this Thunderbirds thing.
Yeah, because they're filming Thunderbirds at the moment, so that's just what the miniature studios is. They call them bigatures because they are pretty fucking massive.
Yeah, we both got a little bit upset because we weren't massively interested in Thunderbirds, even though my dad would be really happy. But it was still like really interesting hearing about how they like get loads of little bits and then smash them all together to make all these like bigatures where they like, so you can, if they buy the ready-made, say like a Millennium Falcon, and then buy a Star Trek ship, they can't then make that ship and then put it in Thunderbirds, but they can like take bits from the Millennium Falcon and bits from Star Trek.
Well, it's a process.
Smash them all together.
It's a process they call kit bashing.
Kit bashing,
where they just take a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And just stuff just ripped from
Because
wherever.
you've already got it pre-done. Like, you've already got the cannons and shit ready to just shove together with another thing.
One of my favourite bits of the entire tour was they were showing examples of like buildings they've made, and also they had shelves of like all the shit that they would use to do this kit bashing. And this was as Heather was saying, like entire kits of other models, but then shit ripped from like TVs or vacuum cleaners. And my favourite bit was they had a line of jars. With each with like their own thing in, but they just given them their own names, and like this really tickled me. So there was like a little jar of corks, then a little jar of widgets, and then there were thingamajigs, and then dooferys, whatsits, dingles, doohickeys, foofanillies, squigglies, whatsits, rings, thingies, greeples, and nurnies. And that really tickled me. And actually, like the minis tour, the miniature tour ended up being really interesting. Just like going from seeing how they've taken the Thunderbird series, redesigned bits and pieces, seeing what they've used to create the new models, and then seeing the full sets they've created.
And then like one of these like is really like steampunk set they built, and we're just like, oh look, that is an old computer fan. That's the old inside of an old TV. That is the
that's the sprue
skeleton
from a model.
Yeah, the skeleton that you get when you pop out one of these fucking kits. They literally just used everything, and then they're like, oh, that's an old dial-on fucking vacuum cleaner, and and they were saying, oh, that's the ring from an old washing machine, and it was really interesting seeing them like shove all these bits together to make this like awesome thing. And also I hadn't even realised, like I've watched the new Thunderbirds episodes, and the characters are all CGI, so I just assumed the whole thing was CGI. I didn't realise that they build the sets and then they just add the CGI people onto the made sets, which I hadn't realised, but I guess it saves, once you build the set, then you can use the set in every angle and then just CGI the people moving, which works quite nicely.
So that was Weta Cave. Like the Weta Cave thing is, well worth your time. It's well worth the money.
Really interesting.
And the guides are wicked. Yeah, they're lovely. They all
work like freelancers as like in their company, and then they do tours like on the sideline when they can't be bothered, or like there isn't any like sewing or paint job work, which is really interesting. They're not just tour guides that are just taught shit, like they know the business inside and out. Like, it's great. And while we were there, we heard them talk about that they had created these big massive sculptures for a museum exhibition, and told us that they should highly recommend us going. And it was a museum, like it's a free museum to go to, so we were thinking like, oh, if we've got a spare time we'll go anyway. And it was this exhibition on the...
It's the Te Papa Museum, which is basically the big museum
New Zealand,
in Wellington. And the...
Gallipio?
So it's... the scale of art is the exhibition is about World War One, and primarily New Zealand's involvement in the Gallipoli, the Battle of Gallipoli in Turkey, and the exhibition is called The Scale of Our War. And so what Weta did, which we went to see afterwards, which is like very smooth segue, baby. Afterwards we went to the Te Papa Museum, and we went to check out the scale of our war. And what Weta did for him is they made a series of 5 times larger than life human sculptures.
I think even more than 5 times, really.
I believe it's 5 times.
That's what he said. He thought, he wasn't sure. I think they were probably bigger than 5 times. But these massive, like, giant sculptures.
And like alarmingly realistic.
Yeah, like every pore in the face and every hair individually put on the arm and veins, and then they're eating food that's covered in flies and they're bleeding out, and there's like pure sweat droplets that look like they've just formed, and the costumes were all in scale. All of the French seams and fell seams were all in scale to the size of these giant trout jackets, and these buttons, they'd have special buttons made to be bigger than like any button you'd ever be able to buy to like make it right with these suits, the uniforms. It was amazing. And just the whole museum, like the way they set it out was just incredible. It was so interesting. It had the right amount of information, it had the right amount of photos, and like led you along and really gave you the power of this war and how much the New Zealanders had suffered.
It really did a good job of telling the story,
Yeah.
rather than like in sort of
Just
all
loads
the other
of
war
facts,
exhibitions
yeah.
I've seen before. It's just been, oh, here's the trenches bit. Oh, here's this bit.
Yeah.
Oh, here's this bit.
Yeah.
Like this.
You
Yeah,
really
the
went
scale
on
of
the
our
journey
war.
with
Yeah.
them of how the war started and everything they did.
And it's just like one of the cool, like really nice little touches is as you go through the route, follow the route of this exhibition, like you're following a line.
Timeline.
And then there'll be like a big poppy and a date and a particular battle engagement.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't ever explicitly
Tells
say
you,
it.
but it was so
but,
right.
Like around like these dates, you can see little red crosses splayed out in like almost like splatter form.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's a splatter for
Yeah.
probably every New Zealander who died.
New Zealander who
'Cause
died. And then there'd be like on the big battle days, like a shit ton of crosses. And then there'd be like the between days, like between main battles, there'd be like just a few in the pathway where people had died along the way before the next battle. And then at the very end on the floor, they had how many New Zealanders had died, how many Australians had died, how many English people had died, and how many Turkish people had died. And like the Turkish people that died was just thousands
Over
more.
89,000.
And they still fucking lost this battle, and it's so like
the Turks won.
despite
incurring the heaviest losses.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But like you're going through this whole journey with them, hearing about this like absolute hardship. Like I've never felt so like, and also like they're so, England have gone to war, we're going to be with them, like we proved to England that we like want to be Britain and be by their side and help them with this war. And you're just like walking along being like, I can't believe they were so proud to like fight alongside us when we fucking destroyed their Maori culture just like England do every other bloody country. And then, how much they battle, and then you think there's going to be like a happy story, and you get to the end and they're like, no, we didn't even like fucking win, we had to retreat, and we killed all these thousands of people and we still didn't even get there. And, like, it was all for nothing. And it's just...
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the most touching parts...
Soul destroying.
Yeah, one of the most touching parts of that entire exhibit was right in the last room. There's a bit where it's telling you about a note that the commander of the New Zealand forces left for the commander of the Turks to find. And the note goes something along the lines of, basically we've run away. We haven't had time to pick up all our boys. They've fought gallantly, and we hope they'll be left to the care of and treated well by an enemy that's proved itself as equally gallant.
Yeah.
And the Turkish commander's thing was like, again paraphrasing, it's like, you've left on our soil, and as we bury our sons, we consider these men our sons too.
Yeah.
Which is like, little honor.
And then like so many years later, the Turks gave them like a massive plaque with everybody's names who like fought in the battle to be like, we're sorry guys.
Yeah.
Here, have this like, Remembrance Day thing.
But the museum was, I mean, I think you summed it up best, Heath, when you said like, it was really cool going there to this museum because you go there and they don't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So they just create exhibitions and like lead you through by the hand and show you loads of cool stuff.
It's very visually exciting.
It's their history.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to an English museum and it's pretty much you walk in and it's the British Empire going, hey guys, look at all this cool shit we stole.
Yeah.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
Hey, here's a mummy.
We in fact went back to that museum the next day. We'll talk about now what we do in the museums. And there they have the only Colossus
Colossal squid.
that is in a museum anywhere in the world, and it's the most complete colossal squid that they have. And it had all the story about how they've caught it and then how they studied it, and then there's it's like in a tank, a preserved tank, and you can like go and have a look at it, and its eye is the size of a soccer ball.
Or was when it's but it's like obviously
it's
preserving has shrunk it
it all down.
But even so, it's still like much longer than I am.
Much by a lot.
And so it's a big fucking squid. But also, like, you can sort of go around and read, like, I like the little facts, like, it talks about the beak at one point.
And then you have like a miniature like a to scale one that you can touch and you can feel how pointy the beak is of it and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they describe it as being like an inverted parrot beak. And the reason it's the size it is because the colossal squid can only eat small amounts at a time, because its throat passes directly through the centre of its brain. So if it swallows too much at any one point, it basically just...
brain damage.
Yeah, it gives itself brain damage. It's just ludicrous. So that's Te Papa Museum. Fucking, if you're ever in the area, well worth a shot. So, yeah, that night... we failed to go out, really. Want to go to the Valhalla bar because, it's a fucking rock and metal bar in another country. Want to check out. Yeah, not open. Probably just a venue rather than an actual bar. So we ended up in the Laundry, which is an odd little place. Not really much to talk about. Only there's a photo who will probably be the cover art. This is the second Lord Wellington Biffley Sinclair, and here's some interesting facts about the second Lord Wellington Biffley Sinclair. The second Lord Wellington Biffley Sinclair is massively into graphing. In fact, he lost his head because he put his he graphed on Queen Victoria's underwear. The second Lord Wellington Biffley Sinclair makes a banging guacamole. The second Lord Wellington Biffley Sinclair basically invented the backside kickflip. So there's that. The dude is he's a dude. So the next day, yesterday, it was yesterday? Yeah. Which would be like the Tuesday, I think, at this point. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we've spoken about going back to the museum, which, again, amazing. Before that, we stopped off at a gaming shop called the Caffeinated Dragon. I was hoping to pick up the new D&D release. Wasn't there. So, I bought you, baby, your first set of polyhedral dice.
Yep.
And bought a set for myself. So I've actually finally, for the first time ever, gone to a place and got a souvenir. And it is dice form. And then, yes, we spoke about the museum. And we did find the day before a place where you can go climbing, rock climbing, for like $25. So like £12.50, unlimited time. But we didn't make it to that because the morning was a period of intense interpersonal reflection. So that didn't happen. So the evening was, we went to a venue called Counterculture, which is a gaming cafe
that sells alcohol on draft.
Yes. So we played a few games there, and a really cool place. Good beer, good games, and that's basically like my number one on my to-do list because I'm such a fucking nerd. I'm just the nerdiest fucking nerd that ever nerded. But yeah, it was to go along, play there, and we did. Oh, also this day we picked up the car, which you'll be hearing about. But if you've listened to the Iceland diaries, you've heard about how Heather didn't respond too well to the new vehicle and having to drive in a foreign country, in unknown territory. It didn't go particularly well this time either, but it did go better.
Yeah.
It did go a lot better. A lot less actual tears this time. And no stopping and refusing to move. So, improvements being made.
No, that's alright. This is a very complicated car that there's no key for it. Alright.
Not this time.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's Wellington. I mean, Wellington was fucking amazing. Could have easily spent an entire week there.
Yeah, there's loads of botanic garden that we wanted to
and there's
go
an
and
observatory
see.
there.
And there's an observatory that have light, you can go see the stars. And then there's another Mount Victoria where there's loads of
There's
lookout points and things.
and also scene sets from the Lord of the Rings. So Rivendell is there.
You can go on tours and go to loads of different points where they filmed Lord of the Rings that we could have gone to.
Also, we were there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and there's one in downtown, one particular street, Cuba Street, which just screams weekend at you. So it would have been really fucking cool to have been there for a weekend, I reckon, and done the city as the city is best done. But fuck it, it is what it is. Had fun, played some games, saw some really cool shit. Check out Wellington.
Hell yeah.
If you could be bothered to do the 28 hours journey, you could probably make a pretty good city break. And welcome back from our commercial break to the Shire-ies. Do you see what I did there?
I did.
Do you see what I did there?
I did see what you did there. Very good.
So when we last left you, we had just got to Raglan, a surf town on the east coast of New Zealand, and we were very excited about that. And then we spent almost no time there whatsoever. What happened is we found Waitomo Caves.
Which we'd already pre-booked to do what you did is, the thing we pre-booked is that you went on a boat, and you walked through the caves for a little bit, and then you went on these big boats that were just through these caves that have these glowworms all on the ceiling.
Although, as we've learned, they're not actually worms.
No.
They're fly larvae, so they're not so, they're more, I think twinkle maggots is more.
Yeah.
Not more.
They're these little larvae that, when the cycle starts, there's 20 eggs. The oldest of the 20 eggs eats all the rest of the eggs that are nearby them to create enough. So whoever is the first one to hatch is the winner.
Eats the siblings, and then that eating helps them create the energy they need to start glowing
and make the little glow butt. And then they put these long, thin strips of sticky substance that come down from the cave roof, and basically insects that come along on the river through the caves, they see the starry skies of all of these glowworms lit up, and it does look like the night sky, and they go, oh look, an exit, it's night time, and then they fly up to it, and then they get stuck in the sticky chandelier things that they call them. And so we drove there.
Okay, so that's the science of biology. So the Waitomo Caves, they're the famous glowworm caverns. You go in a boat, and you're taken through the caves to look, and it's quite a spectacle. We got there a little early, so we did another tour called the Aranui Cave, which was all about stalactites and stalagmites. But we were the only two people on this tour, so it was just us and a girl who turned out to be one of the family members who run it, one of the Maori family members. So there was some information about stalactites and stalagmites. mostly we got to hear about the family and how the caves and the systems came into the family's possession and what they're doing with it.
Yeah, and how they still have them all. And the guy who found it was an English guy and a Maori chief that found it. And the Maori chief had 18 children. And those 18 children have all had lots and lots of other children.
Yeah,
so she has 3,000.
3,000 strong.
From family. And they all have a percentage of these caves that they still own today.
Well,
they have like a fund, a trust. And if like they can't afford to get their children's school uniform, then you're allowed to take money from the trust for that, but you're not allowed to take money from the trust for going on holiday and other things like that.
Exactly.
And everyone in the family automatically gets a job at the caves before anybody else does.
Yeah. So we got there, we did this extra tour, the Aranui cave, just because, we had time to burn, and then we went and did the glowworm cave, which was wicked, and while we were there, we spotted the Blackwater rafting.
We'd been told about it beforehand, though. We had been told before about it, but we weren't quite aware when we booked it all in England. And we saw that you could do these other options. You could either do a 5-hour excursion, where you do some abseiling, some zip lining, all in the caves, and then you also do some rubber ring going around, or you do a whole 3-hour one where you're in a rubber ring and you go floating down the river.
In the cave.
In the
I have
caves,
to point
in the
out,
glowworms,
the whole thing is you're going through the caves. The Blackwater is, it's fast-moving water, sometimes fast-moving water, in the darkness of the caves.
Under the glowworms. And we had we got there and we're like, we don't have time because we got there early. We didn't get there early enough to do those things. We're like, oh, they look really cool. Well, we're going to Hobbiton tomorrow, but we're not going till 5:30 in the evening. We don't have time to do the 5-hour excursion though. We've only got enough time that day to do the 3-hour one. So we'll do that then. So we booked to go and do the rafting one where you have 3 hours and you sit in a little rubber ring and then you do some walking, sitting in a ring, floating along, and then you jump backwards off of waterfalls into the pools and then bobble along for a little bit with loads of glowworms above you, and then they give you a little snack and then you go along, and then at the end you get hot soup and bagels.
Yeah, I do have to point out so you're taught beforehand how to jump in these rubber rings. The whole point is, the water you jump into isn't that deep.
No.
And you've also got to clear a bit of distance as well, because otherwise you start hitting yourself on rocks. So you have to jump backwards in the rubber ring, landing in the rubber ring, just to make sure you don't go crashing to the bottom of the pool or whatnot. But that first one, that's a really cool little tour.
Yeah, it was good fun.
The
guides were really lovely. They were a lot of fun.
It's a bit more involved than just walking around a cave and then being taken on a
and you all link legs together and you'll go and you follow the stream down in the dark with the glowworms above you, and you just lay back and look at the glowworms above you in the night sky. It was really lovely. Yeah,
it's very cool. It's like I said, it's more involved than the normal one, but the focus is more on fun and enjoyment. There's no real, there's nothing particularly dangerous about it. Yeah, there's no adrenaline to it whatsoever. The other tour, however, there's a bit more to it.
Yeah.
So you start off by doing, this is the Abyss tour, which is, it's a bit more expensive, and it's 2 hours longer. But so for both tours, you're wearing full cold water wetsuits, which is always fun,
and wellies, and helmets, with torches on.
And in this one, you're wearing all that and a climbing harness as well. Yeah, and the thing starts off with a
very long abseil. It's long.
Yeah, but you're taught really quickly how to use the equipment. It's all very simple.
Yeah, it's very simple equipment,
and it's just just having the nerve to drift down this rope into this
very tight.
Yeah, you said it felt very tight.
I felt like I couldn't fit in it at all. I felt like I was way too large to go in it. But we'd already been told that a very large person could go through it.
Yes.
So I was assured that I would fit, but I felt like I wasn't going to fit.
And so you got the abseil, and then you've got a bit of a trek through a bit of a walk through the cave, and then there's a zip line to get to the next section.
Yeah. Then you sit and have a hot chocolate.
Indeed.
Then you jump in forward off of the edge.
Yes. Yeah. So then there's another period of doing the rubber ring safari, and but this is different part of cave. Of the cave. It's like doesn't really move as quickly on this one, but it's a lot deeper, and they just like let you get off.
You just go off. You go off for a while, and you can either go like swimming, or you can like be half in the ring, half out of the ring, or you can be walking, and then it gets a bit deep in some places. And then we all had to like paddle upstream for a while, and then we all started then sitting in the rings and floating up, and you go to this cave that just gets like all glowworms, and it's really low ceiling, gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you kind of hit the end. And the only way out of this way is to go underwater.
So there's a channel that feeds this part of the river that is 180 meters.
Yeah,
it can fit a person, but it's 180 meters, almost entirely underwater and going upstream.
Yeah,
only 2 people
have ever done it, and both of them have said that they would never ever do it again. It was way too terrifying, and they're like professional scuba diver, long haul swimmers, scuba divers, and all of this like have done like tight spots in caves. They said they would never do it again and never recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
And then we float on back down.
I got pitched off my rubber ring.
Yeah, you told the guide that there was an eel, and
it was.
She'd already said that she was absolutely petrified of eels, and then you said that there was an eel around.
So there was a part where she was giving a bit of the tour, and sort of instructing us on, like giving us the whole glowworm bits, sort of the biology of it. But yeah, this is the 3rd time we've heard it now.
Yeah.
And it got to the end, there's a point where they always ask, has anyone got any questions? Usually this is the bit where people ask questions, the answers to which have just been told to us, like, oh, what do they eat? And blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it was at that point I wanted to go, like, has anyone got any questions? I wanted to go, it was like, yeah, who's just grabbed my leg? But it's just like, yeah, that's not going to come off too well. So instead, later on, as we're going back downstream, we've been joined into the worm again, and she's, our instructor is pulling us along, occasionally singing, having a laugh and a joke every now and then. And so I make a point of like audibly letting my hand fall into the water. And then I just go, oh, that's a big eel. At which point her light flashes on. She goes, where? What? Where? Ah! And so I start laughing. Actually, she figures out pretty quickly that I've just wound her up. So she just pitches me off the ring, submerged me entirely.
Refused to let you go back into the chain of
which I was fine with.
Yeah,
I was
you
done
went for
with
a
the
little
chain.
swing. Yeah, I was getting a bit bored of it. I was like, it was a bit of a while. So I started, I don't know if you noticed, I started like paddling with my hands to like, let's go a bit faster. Come on, let's go see some more things. And then it finishes with doing some drunkard walking,
drunken stumble.
Stumble, because you've got like no idea how deep the water is. It changes loads of different, like the rocks are all up and down, and you're walking with like the water to your ankle, then your knee, then it's suddenly up to your nipples, and that was the nipple pool, which you didn't understand the name of while you're standing there with the water up to your nipples going, what, is there a nipple on the ceiling?
I shined my flashlight up, and I found this one bit of rock that protruded a bit more than the rest. So is that the nipple?
And then back to like walking with water to your knees, and then there was a really tight little hole, and you had to like crawl on your like military style on your elbows, crawl through a little hole, and there was a slide, went head first down on a little slide down a waterfall.
I had a piss in the cave.
You pissed in the waterfall in the cave.
That was cool. I've pissed deep underground. I've pissed in a lot of places. I can now include deep underground as one of them.
And then we went for a bit of a swim.
Yeah, and the whole thing culminates with climbing up to subterranean waterfalls.
Yeah, they're like proper gushing.
I
I loved it. I was just terrifying.
Your face after the first one, you did not look happy, baby.
It's just, there's a lot of water gushing, and the first one was quite high. Like, you got some height. You're not attached to anything. It's fully on your own strength while waterfall's coming down on you, and you're having to try and pull your own weight and get yourself up and not slip, and then get up on your knee and then like pull yourself up. It was just terrifying. Like, I was going to hurt myself very badly if I slipped, and that is what terrified me.
Yeah, fine. I mean, that could have happened anywhere in the cave, but I get you. But you did fine. You could do more climbing, baby. We'll do some climbing at some point. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was Waitomo Caves across 3 days. Yep. Four of the different things across 3 days.
We were only meant to do 1 day there.
Highly recommended if you're ever in New Zealand.
Yeah, it was amazing.
If you have small children or you're not feeling very adventurous, go for the actual Waitomo Cave tours, the glowworm boat, the Aranui Cave, and the Kuratani Cave tour. If you're a bit more adventurous, go blackwater rafting.
Yeah, they were good.
If you're not, if you want to do something a bit different, just go for the labyrinth, which is just you taken underground in your ring, floating around in this underground river. That's quite fun, and it's got a couple of moments of ooh when you're jumping backwards off of waterfalls and the like.
Yep.
If you want to do something really adventurous, the Abyss, the 5-hour tour with the abseiling, the zip right, that kind of does everything. Yeah. And also, I found that was the one where we got the most complete information, but that may have just been our guides. And of course, finally, I suppose we'll quickly visit Raglan, because last night we did get to spend some time in Raglan. Very pretty, beautiful sunsets, surf mecca, apparently rally mecca as well.
Yeah, they do loads of different rallies and different pieces and stuff, bits there. We found a little place called the Yacht Club, which had
it's the
reggae
venue.
And drum and bass, like the venue, and we went and had a drink there. It's quite nice.
Yeah, but I think we were there too early to see any real nightlife, unfortunately.
But cute little town, quite nice.
Yeah, I could easily spend more time there. I think I'd be a lot more interested in going back if I ever really get into surfing or anything like that. It's just, hippie, super chill, super lovely, lots of quirky shops. Yeah, there's that. Anyway.
Hobbits.
Yes, here's the bit people want to know about, some real Middle Earth bullshit. We went and did the Hobbiton movie set tour. Yeah. Which, I don't know. I didn't really have any expectations, and it somehow managed to meet all of them. Hobbiton is exactly as it looks in the movies. There are a couple of bits that catch you off guard. So there are some bits that didn't make it into the film, in where you've basically just got patches of New Zealand's indigenous flora. So it's weird to be going through this bucolic country scene with hobbit holes, and then you go over a bridge and a sort of wooded path, and that's got ferns and bracken and
fucking palm trees. That was weird.
And
seeing
brush
palm
trees. Yeah. But there's now 44 houses?
Something like that, yeah.
44 hobbit holes.
They're all different, and
they're all different,
and really lovely little quaint bits, quirky bits. Like, and then the higher up the hill, the more money you had, and then the baker was
the bigger the hole, the better.
Because the baker, so then he could open his doors, and everyone could then smell that he was open and the shop was open and ready for business.
Yep.
So we went for the evening banquet tour, where you go around the movie set. At dusk, which was really nice, like nice lighting. However, it was like impossible to take good photos because the sun is like really low in the sky.
If you're interested in nighttime photos, make sure you take a bloody
really
good camera with you.
Nighttime camera with you.
The sort of thing where you can play with exposure. Or apparently take a Google Pixel, because they're pretty good in shit conditions, it turns out.
So yes, you get a little guided tour around it all. You get to see it all. Something I was really upset about is you're not allowed anywhere near Bilbo Baggins' hole. You have to stand and have your photo taken while being very far away from it on the other side of the gate. Which
Also,
was a little bit
worth bearing in mind. Worth bearing in mind, none of these Hobbit holes are very deep. They're mostly for show.
Yeah, they're just the door, yeah. And then all the internals are in a studio, which I knew was going to be the case. Like, I always knew that was going to be the case. Yeah. Like, I work in films, I know that that's what they do. Mm-hmm. But you see all of these videos and photos and them advertising Hobbiton, and there are people taking photos right outside Bilbo Baggins' door.
Yep.
And you're not allowed to do that anymore, which was shit. But it was very nice. It was interesting. Lovely seeing all the little bits. They like point out the bits. They're like, oh, well, that scene where he's like, oh, we're off on an adventure. That's filmed here. And they're like, does anyone want to do that? I'm like the first one to put my hand up in the air, grabbing. He's like, you need the map. I'm like grabbing the map out of my bag. Like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Let's film this.
I got it on film as well.
And then,
which I'm quite happy about.
I'm at that point, I'm wearing my shoes, but me and Taryn did take our shoes off and walked all the way around Hobbiton.
Oh, pretty much immediately.
You immediately did. It took me a little while to do it.
I figured, if you're going to go barefoot anyway, it might as well be Hobbiton. And I've got hairy toes as well, so it worked.
So we went around Hobbiton barefoot. Everyone was like, oh, you guys are big fans then, aren't you? But it was good. And then we go to the Green Dragon Inn, which was lovely, little, like, really cute inn. It's been so done. All the details are really beautiful, little pieces that are really lovely, and all the carvings. Really nice, and then you get a free complimentary drink, and then you go for a 2-course meal.
It also, by far, without doubt, serves the single best, the best beers you'll find in New Zealand, which is bizarre because New Zealand as a place is real. Hobbiton isn't, and it has the better beer. But the place was, fucking gorgeous. It was just, there's lots of really nice little details. You sort of wander around and you'll see some holes in the distance that you probably may or may not get to. You see little washing lines.
Yeah, all little mini short, small clothes. And all the Hobbit holes are different like sizes depending on where they were filming to see like if Gandalf was standing near it and stuff like that. So it looks like all in proportion and it's good. And they told you about a couple of the little tricks that they did with filming Gandalf and all of this, and that he actually did hit his head on the lampshade in that scene, and various different bits. All of the guides all have like association with other people that have known people that worked on it and stuff, and they know the history of the farm and where it was filmed, stuff like that. It was really interesting hearing all these new little facts and bits and pieces. And then then we paid for the evening banquet. So we had a 2-course like epic banquet of amazing food. It was
pretty damn good.
So tasty.
That Lincolnshire sausage and its tomato and fennel sauce. Fuck off, mate.
And the desserts, oh god, all of them.
How did I get that recipe?
Beautiful. The cheesecake was just really, really good. It was really lovely. And then you get to go back out and you get given a torch, little lantern, and you walk back round through Hobbiton, through all the holes you didn't walk through before, but at night time, and then you have a little dance. Which
we're supposed to have a little dance.
Nobody danced.
Yeah, no, the dudes only sang one refrain of the Green Dragon song, and I was just about to take your arm and start twirling, and they said, right, cool, that'll do, good dancing, guys, and
you failed. Everyone. They should have just been like, dance, guys, and then...
But never mind.
Whatever.
So, that was Hobbiton done. I think of the Lord of the Rings stuff, we only really missed one, and that was the location tours.
Yeah.
Which you can do in Wellington, and we can go see Rivendell.
I think we already spoke about that.
Did we? Cool.
I feel like maybe we might have.
Yeah, but so if you want to do that, make sure you sort of squeeze that in for the full Lord of the Rings.
When you're in Wellington, if you want to.
Also, I think there are some hikes you can do, like some specific hikes attached to locations on both North and South Islands.
Yeah.
If that's really a thing. Which would have been cool, but I don't know. Your knees might have exploded.
Yeah, but Hobbiton was really, really good.
Hobbiton was wicked. Well worth the extra money for the feast.
Definitely,
that feast was
so
banging.
Tasty. It was so nice, just like because you had the whole thing to yourself. Like we were the first group going around. Like there's no other groups there. Whereas I imagine on a busy day, when you're trying to take these lovely photos of Hobbiton from a distance, there are just constantly people walking around. Like I imagine that there's just a constant flow of people in your way.
Yeah.
Whereas you kind of have the whole place to yourself to really take photos wherever you like. You didn't have to wait too long
that's
for
true.
like, people to get out of your way, because there wasn't that many of us.
No, I mean, there was the Singapore family that just lingered constantly. But that's all right. I got my own book back by butchering the chicken in such a way that she couldn't serve it to her family. I made an absolute mess of it. I mean, an utter mess of it.
You made a bit of a mess of it. She really made most of the mess of it.
No, that's not fair. I annihilated that chicken.
Anyway, yep. So then we're now in Rotorua, which we added an extra day on. We weren't going to be here when we changed some shit around again.
But
we'll
you'll hear about this
later.
Ooh, we'll be in Fiji the next time. Be back to the DVT Diaries. Okay, cool, lovely. We'll see you on the other side. So, coming up next in our super helpful Yelp review system, we're going to be doing a Yelp review for Your Makeup Baby, which saw you cleanly through Waitomo Caves. Would you care to tell us more?
So, the eyeliner that I purchased was the Maybelline Lasting Drama Black Shock liquid eyeliner pen. You can pick this up from Boots or Superdrug or any of the like. It's an eyeliner I like to use occasionally. It doesn't do as well a tick as I like with my MAC makeup, but I do know it's very waterproof, so I chose that to be worn when we did every water run.
And talking about the water, that's the reason we're talking about it, because both times you took it down into the in the last two things we did at Waitomo Caves.
All of the Waitomo Caves water things.
To be fair, yes, indeed. But it was more so the Labyrinth, and then on the last day in Raglan, the Abyss tours. You took it down, and these tours both have water coming at you.
I climbed up a waterfall and my eyeliner was still immaculate.
No, you didn't. You climbed up two waterfalls and your eyeliner was still immaculate. So that is the, again, what is it?
The Maybelline Lasting Drama Black Shock one-click eyeliner.
So what would you say? Like from £2 rise to £0 rise out of Yelp?
Oh, £0 rise out of Yelp.
You heard it here first, folks. The Zero Drama, £0 rise out of Yelp. Boom. Cool. Next up, we're going to do a quick review, and this is what we here at the Pot Topic are known for. It's our firm, full, in-depth, well-studied coverage of cars and their reviews. So here comes our review of the Mazda CX-5, which is a 4x4 kind of SUV type thing.
Car thing. It beeps a lot. There's no key, so hope that you put the stick that you have in your car when you drive away. You press a start button, then you press a button to turn the handbrake off.
Definitely one of them, their newfangled modern type cars.
Yep. When I drove away with just my handbag, my backpack, but my bag on the passenger seat when I drove to the petrol station, it proceeded to beep at me because it felt that there was something on the seat and that passenger had not done up their seatbelt. So it beeped at me the entire way to and from the fucking petrol station because it wanted somebody who wasn't there to put a seatbelt on. what is it? Somebody said it was because it was Asian made, but aren't they? I don't understand that.
You're talking about the indicator.
Yeah. I can't remember, for whatever reason. I don't know. In New Zealand, you drive on the same side of the road as England, but their indicators are on the other side than what our cars have. So a lot of the time I did turn the windscreen wipers on instead of signalling to turn which way I was going around a roundabout.
Back in Wellington, it annoyed you. I laughed at it every single time, and you were getting more and more frustrated. By the end of the trip, it was just like, it'd be once every now and then you'd do it, and it still killed me.
I'm gonna do it when I go back to England and drive my own car. I'm gonna try and put my signal and then bloody do my window white and wash it instead. Yeah, so it beeps a lot. It did some other beepy things. It was very high tech.
It drove well, didn't it?
It drove well, yeah, it was nice.
It's nice to have a car, especially considering your piece of shit.
My piece of shit is crap. It was nice to be able to...
It can accelerate.
Yeah, it was nice to overtake people. That was exciting. I don't get to do that in my shitty 2001 litre Corsa with no power steering.
Very importantly, I feel, if you are driving at night, super tired and so ill that you're slightly hallucinating, you can turn down the display lights on the speedometers and stuff, so they're not quite as dazzling.
That was helpful while I was very ill and hallucinating while driving.
That was back from Hobbiton. But all round, saw us through.
It was good. It was alright. It was not too bad car. It's always with me a bit of a panic when I pick up a new car, but it was good. It was fine to drive. It was only the first hour or so.
Yes, or the first day. Yeah, for sure. So I think we sort of landed on I think 73 bleeping things out of Yelp.
Yep.
For that one.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Just before we go, we've got a couple more reviews for you here. First up is Auckland Airport.
Yeah. So when we arrived to Auckland Airport, that was quite nice. You were welcomed by a lovely Lord of the Rings statue. That was exciting.
One of the big carved dwarves.
But when we went, and then when you transferred to the domestic, that was quite an easy little walk around the domestic. The domestic area was very lovely. It was quite simple, easy to find, lovely to go around.
Worth noting that if you are ever doing a domestic transfer from Auckland Airport, there's only one place to buy beer.
Yep.
And it's New Zealand beer, so it's not great. So maybe do your drinking beforehand.
And you have to do it before you go through security. Exciting.
Yeah, sorry, that is after security. Before security, you got more choices.
Yep.
More options.
But when we then travelled back from Auckland to leave the country, you go through security's fine, that's all lovely, but there's loads of building works going on, so we got to eat our breakfast while there was some building works going on.
Security was really quick.
Security was really quick.
Was that just the time of day and
it might have been, but it was the quickest security we've ever had.
We flew through. I got randomly searched by a dude. I suspect because I was wearing a big psychedelic t-shirt and had long hair, but it could have just been a random check.
I think it was you had a lot of electronics in your bag,
could
which
also
is what
be.
Sometimes happens to me when I don't separate my electronics.
While being swabbed and held under suspicion, the dude was very
lovely.
He was pleasant. Had a lovely chat with him.
Yep. But when we had breakfast, we had hammering and all of that shit going down.
Oh shit! I forgot about breakfast.
Loads of work going through. The breakfast was very tasty, though.
Okay, so yes, there were works going on, but the BLT bagel with cheese and whatever the fuck that sauce was, that was banging.
Some kind of dressing to it. It was very tasty. Yeah. It was very good. But all of the banging was not enjoyable in the morning, first thing in the morning.
And that's...
they had a water fountain, that was good, better than Heathrow. Heathrow has no water fountain for you to refill your empty water bottles before you go through. So we did have to buy water, which was exciting. I was excited about that. They also had that in Hong Kong. Very exciting times. They obviously do shit better than us.
Yeah.
Standard.
Well, I maybe the assumption is people aren't going to be dying of thirst quite so much in London.
I guess so.
All the time, but so the bars were fine. We ended up buying our souvenirs there.
We saw some drink coasters throughout our whole trip through New Zealand. Kept seeing different types, but very similar. They're obviously all the same make.
Yeah.
We were humming and hawing about it for a while, but then when we got to the airport, found that at the airport they had all of the coasters that we'd seen, plus extra better ones that we'd seen our whole trip. So we managed to buy some nice coasters that we were both happy with.
So souvenirs.
So
good from
wait
there.
till you get to the airport and then buy your shit, because they had good shit. Apart from the t-shirt you wanted, they didn't have the t-shirt you wanted.
Well, yeah.
But they had a Watomo.
Yes, the Waitomo Caves.
Watomo. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know, what rating should we give it?
Oh, I mean, it does have, there were other down points. It was one of the few places I went to in New Zealand where the toilets weren't actually fucking perfect. All the other toilets I went to in New Zealand were immaculate. At Auckland,
in Hobbiton, the toilets in Hobbiton were pretty skanky. In the girls' toilets in Hobbiton.
Yeah.
But in the Green Dragon, in Hobbiton, the toilets were fucking amazing. They were beautiful and all like.
Oh, I see, other way round for me. Like the reception toilets were fine, but the Green Dragon toilets, they're just people who'd been. Anyway, we're reviewing Auckland Airport.
Yeah, no. Continue.
But yeah, so like the toilets weren't exactly as perfect as I'd gotten used to in the rest of New Zealand, and the beer was very expensive and served in half pints for the price of 4 pints.
Yep.
So I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's easy to navigate. There's a lot going for it, but I'm gonna have to give it 7 expensive half pints out of Yelp.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I agree. Cool.
And next up on our world famous Yelp reviews is our Yelp review of New Zealand Airways.
Very enjoyable. I highly recommend flying with those guys.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't recommend anyone.
I love their uniforms. Their uniforms are cool. They're really nice. The seats are not bad. They got good speakers. They have good.
It's a really nice shade
films.
of green on their uniforms.
Yeah.
It's
nice.
It's not quite lime, but it's quite a bright green. And then there's lots of patterns and like silver fern leaves and stuff. It's the symbol of New Zealand.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
The overhead compartments are very fancy and cool.
They are, and the instructional videos, they are videos. They've got video, even on the domestic flights, there are things that flop down.
Yeah, they're interesting videos.
It starts off with Kia ora.
Yeah.
And then a video with Cuba Gooding Jr. for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's quite fun. It's got quite a catchy tune. And when you land, they play a little catchy tune as well, which is the same tune every flight we've had. But, it's quite nice. Quite catchy. The seats are comfy. If you go a long haul, then you get free alcohol. I think we could have, if we got up and asked for more alcohol, I think we could have got more alcohol if we wanted it.
Yeah.
If we'd stood up. But we were too busy sitting down and napping and watching all of the really great movie choices that there were. There were a lot of good movie choices, and
so I mean, as standard, you can expect to see all the Lord of the Rings, all the Hobbits. But you've got like so much.
Yeah, I mean, we watched Baby Driver. I watched Epic. That was really good.
You watched Epic, yeah. Baby Driver was. Oh no, Baby Driver is still on. New Zealand Airways.
We've only flown very New Zealand so far. Like really good selection, good airline. The flights are really enjoyable, and they've got a little thing where you can like look at your flight and see where the plane's going. You can see all of the time zones and like where's daylight and nighttime on the world, and you can like zoom in and out of all of the flight paths and see where they fly to. I liked that. That was interesting.
So the thing that really sticks in my mind is that I think it was the night before we left. Kel came over to our place and out in the studio with Kel and our housemate Kimmy, and I can't remember which one of them brings it up, but they were just like, oh yeah, no, you've got real budget airlines for the way over there, haven't you? And it's like, oh, I don't think so. I think it's like Air New Zealand or something. Yeah. And they both laughed at that. It was like, but so our first flight was Cathay Pacific, if you remember.
Yeah.
Via Air New Zealand. Yeah. And that was hot. There was less options. Yeah. It was all very stuffy. The chairs were uncomfortable. The second you get we got onto an Air New Zealand
flight.
One of the first things they said, sort of pointed out, was like, oh yeah, we won Airline of the Year award for here. It's like,
Baby Driver wasn't
No, that was on Cathay Pacific, but it's still on.
Yeah.
It's all still on.
But yeah, the Cathay Pacific one was very hot and uncomfortable. The Air New Zealands have been amazing, really great planes.
But essentially, if you ever had the opportunity to fly Air New Zealand,
I would 100%.
they're wicked.
Yeah.
They are wicked. I really liked them.
Yeah.
Even the food was.
And they had like
acceptable.
wine. They had different wine choices as well, and they had like different New Zealand wine choices. And the food I thought was really nice. Like some of the greatest like airline food I've had.
Yeah, if you do find yourself
top notch, would 100% recommend.
If you do find yourself in an Air New Zealand flight and they offer you wine, take the Pinot Noir. It is exceptional.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe let's wrap that one up by saying over 100 movie choices out of Yelp.
Yep.
Cool. That'll do. And welcome back after that little bit. We are coming to you now from the sunny, stormy, tropical island of Fiji. Which you won't be hearing much about. This thing's going to be all about New Zealand. If you want to hear about Fiji, we'll get to that in the main show. But Fiji is just ours. But for the time being, we're going to carry on talking about New Zealand and the last 3 days of our trip, which was spent in Rotorua and Auckland. So starting off, with Rotorua, that was where we went immediately after Raglan, which is kind of more towards the east coast. It's in the geothermal sort of port, like one of the famously geothermic portions of the of the country, and it smells like it's the geothermic part of the country. Mm-hmm. It's just that constant
eggy little sulfuric love.
Just that little hint of brimstone always on the air. It is, I actually quite liked it because, it reminded me of having showers in Iceland, which were always enjoyable. So while we were there, we ended up staying at another YHA, just for the one night. We got a room to ourselves.
Good hotels, good hostels, recommend. Or if you're staying anywhere, YHAs, they have many, many, many in New Zealand. Go to them, they're good. Yeah,
yes. I couldn't agree more. So while we were there, first thing we did is we went to, there's a park in Rotorua, near Central, we can go see some of the geothermal, pools that you don't have to pay for it. Yeah. Which is quite odd. Like all the geothermal stuff in Iceland was quite away from
everything else. Yeah.
And here
it's just a park, and then they have a sign saying "Watch where your feet are," because a geothermic bubbling mess might appear at any point, and make sure the children stick to the path because they might go down a little hole. And it's just in the middle of the town. There's just a park in the middle of the city.
We did get hot dogs there.
And they were pretty fucking good. They had a little market.
I should point out they weren't cooked on geothermal vents or anything. There was just there happened to be a market there.
Yeah.
At the time we were, they all rocked up, got some hot dogs, got some dim sum, and then just had a little wander around the geothermal pools,
which was good. I'm happy about that. We met somebody who had also been to Iceland and paid to go to see the geysers, and she was really disappointed about paying to go see that because they weren't as good as Iceland, and that part wasn't very good. She didn't really enjoy Rotorua though, so you have bits and pieces of that.
So the thing with Rotorua is it's a very sort of kind of modern contemporary city. It put me very much in mind of Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
Everything kind of set out in grids. Everything's in big buildings.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there's a lot of soul to the place. But there are these cool geothermal things you can go walk around for free. Mm-hmm. And
which is good. It was nice spending some time with.
And the biggest one of which I remember when we were driving down on our way to find the hostel.
Yeah,
we could see this plume
of smoke.
Yeah,
what the hell is that? Well, first of all, we saw a fence that was just smoking and was like, "Is that house on fire?" No, it's not. It's literally just that there is like a geothermic pool underneath that fence. Somebody built a fence over the top of that, or it appeared after.
It would have appeared after.
Oh dear.
Because it's also coming out of the brickwork of the curb next to it.
But yeah, that was lovely. And then also in Rotorua, they have like, you can go zorbing, and then all the other things you can do in New Zealand, skydiving, whitewater rafting, all of that jazz. There is also a glowworm cave there.
And for the time being, a little cheaper than you can do at, say, Queenstown or whatever.
Yeah. But then they also do have a lot of authentic Maori villages that you can go to. We had been previously recommended to a certain one, so we...
Good pivot, baby. Yes, absolutely. Next up is Tamaki Village.
We'd been recommended a certain one, so we picked it, and it was Tamaki Village.
Tamaki Village, yeah.
So we booked ourselves on that on the evening banquet excursion afternoon feast thing, in which you get put on a coach, which is called a
waka.
Waka, which translates...
Waka is originally a Maori term for, a Maori, you gotta roll your arse apparently, a Maori term for canoes, but they apply it to pretty much all vehicles. That would be a sandfly.
Yep.
You'll hear more about sandflies in the main show. Don't you worry. So we're bundled onto a coach, and sort of ferried off to this village about 20 minutes away. Tamaki Village. Unfortunately, I don't have the other names here, but it's in a bit of ancestral land under an ancestral mountain. They're quite cool experiences, I guess. I don't know. This is one of the things I wasn't too excited. In fact, least excited about doing in New Zealand, because cultural tourism in general just makes me feel a little weird, especially as more often than not the reason it's a tourist attraction rather than just a culture is because of Britain's interference in the past. I don't know, post-colonial guilt kind of kicks raging in on these things, but yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't everything I hoped it to be, but you put on a waka, you put on a coach, and you're told that you are a tribe, and we were the Huya tribe. Huya is a type of extinct bird, and they appoint a chief, which I really...
This poor guy called Daniel.
Yeah, another Brit. I honestly, I really should have put my hand up and volunteered.
I wanted you to volunteer. The problem is that they were like, is anyone good looking, good at dancing, and good at singing? Then
and
put your
good at
hand
rugby.
up. And good at rugby. So then it's like,
yeah, exactly. I'm none of those
You're not going to put your hand up for that, but I wanted to put you forward as being the chief. As soon as they were like good at dancing and good at singing and rugby, I was like, well, you can't put your hand up at that. Like, no one's going to put their hand up at it. Yes, I'm good at fucking everything. I'm the perfect male. I make it a perfect male. I just mean,
wicked. But anyway, so they assign a chief, and then there are rules and regulations before entering the village. So there's this whole peace offering thing, which starts off with a show of strength.
Yeah.
Which, I think that was actually, for me, the coolest bit of the tour.
Yeah.
It was, because I don't know, in that moment, even though it was only, 5 dudes, and the maidens that were part of it, who, blowing conch shells and what, but, had the full force of a village behind it.
Yeah.
I could see how that would be intimidating as fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's a full show of strength. And you've got the protruding eyes and the tongues coming out, and the dances, and there's
the whacker,
and the guys come up spitting staves at you, and then they just kind of tentatively drop a fern at your feet, and then sort of back off, and then you've got to, the chief has to pick it up
without looking scared, or
can't look scared, can't smile, can't return the facial expressions or anything. No laughing, can't turn your back on the warriors. Yeah. These things all cause offence and whatnot. Yeah. And they did a very good job of upping the ante on that and making that feel real. Yeah. The Maori village rather, it was a condensed idea of it. It wasn't an actual, village. There are only a few buildings.
There were, the schools.
But the information was good. So each building we went to was like a school, if you will. And, at one they taught about carving.
Yeah.
And so, like, carvings on buildings and I can't remember what they call totem poles.
Yeah.
But they're all very, based off of gods or demigods who are like heroes in their narratives. There was a little bit about their migration.
Yeah.
And some with poi. We got some footage of...
we're not sharing that.
No, we're not. Well, I don't know, I might work that into our video. And then there were some games to be played, and then also more footage of me trying to do the haka. And then, there's a quick walkthrough on the hangi pits.
Yeah.
Hangi being the word for feast, but it's basically just like big cooking pits where all the food gets bundled in on hot stoves and steamed.
Underground.
Yeah. And after that was a performance. Now, if everything's worked out correctly, the performances will be the bits you've been hearing between these segments. That was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. And
cool.
The food itself was also
really nice.
Wicked. But the thing that got me is there was no time to actually talk to the people. And so there were the people who were all in traditional garb and either doing the songs or teaching you stuff. They were all there, but there was no real time to talk to them, which I would have loved to, and I would have loved to have sat down and sort of go through specifics of what else they know. Oh, we got some geckos in our apartment. Hashtag Fiji life. But that's just Tamaki Village. I can't speak for any of the others, but I always knew cultural tourism was going to be a bit of a weird one. But, glad I did go along in the end. There was some stuff I learned. For instance, the fact that they had to use sort of sandstone to sharpen their greenstone, and that to sharpen their whalebone in order to create the tools they need to do carving before there were metal tools available. That sort of stuff was pretty cool. But I could have used more of that.
Yeah.
But that's just me being a bit demanding.
Yeah. I mean, it was a locally run thing that was run by two Maori guys that wanted to explore it in the 80s. They sold one of the brothers sold the only, like, his Harley Davidson, which was the only vehicle they had to be able to afford to buy a
10-seater
tour bus, which went to a village that was all original, and as over time they managed to update it and do it and do it bigger, and that was really nice. And there was that part of it which was really good that made it nice. It's you are giving back to the community. You're not just paying into like a massive tourism thing. There
is that. It is all Maori to Maori. Anyway, that's Rotorua. We need to move on to Auckland.
Yep.
Very quickly, we met one of your mates, Luke, from secondary
school. Yeah.
He and his girlfriends, they took us to Piha Beach, which is a black sand beach on the west coast, just about an hour outside of Auckland. Which was cool. They provided a picnic for us, which was absolutely lovely. While we were there, there's on this beach is there's a thing in the west is called Lion's Rock.
Yeah.
Which you can climb.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of a walk up that, and while we were there was this Shugyo lesson going on. Shugyo is I think it's a particular branch of Aikido. Yeah. But these guys seem to be mixing it with Maori tradition as well, creating something slightly, original. And these guys were climbing this rock with a stick held above their heads, and running up it. And then they went a bit further than the general public are allowed.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go. There's a big sign saying danger, do not go up any further, because people used to go up further, but it's too uneven that they've closed it off. And then some of them decided to jump over the fence and go up further. They didn't have to carry their sticks up that bit.
No. I mean, there was a period of maybe sort of a 4-meter rock climb to do. So yeah, obviously like holding a stick above your head wasn't gonna. But that was pretty cool. And we in fact bumped into them again on our way back from one of the waterfalls nearby.
So they obviously then went to the waterfall for a dunk.
Was it Kirikiri?
Yeah, it was Kirikiri. Yeah,
Kirikiri waterfall, which was about a half-hour hoof uphill. And then you get to, a bloody lovely subtropical waterfall.
Yeah, we went for a swim.
We did go for a swim. And this is lovely, because this is in another area of, much like, you can hear birds in the background there, much like Waitomo. It's the flora is all like old school. New Zealand. Yeah. So you've got fern and bracken and, really old beach and stuff. Lying around, and that was really cool. And then we quickly went off to another waterfall after that, which it's named
Kiki. Kai.
Oh, Kite.
One of them was like Kai, and the other one was Kiti or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're freshwater waterfalls.
Yeah.
Good ones. I don't know what else I can tell you about them, really.
Yep, waterfalls good. Solid.
Yeah, waterfalls are good, especially in other countries that aren't England, because you can go swimming in the bottom of them, which is always nice. After that, there was a sort of a rushed moment or so as we had to get to the K Road, which is like the big strip, the big fun time strip in Auckland City. Which is where Haka Lodge, where we were staying for 2 nights.
They're also a chain throughout New Zealand. They were quite nice hostels. People recommending them.
Yeah, their kitchens close.
Yeah, their kitchen closed quite whenever we wanted to use it. It was closed.
Yeah, quick tip.
Whereas YHA is open.
That shit just stays open. Yeah, no, that's wicked. Yeah, so if you're at Haka Lodge and you're expecting to want to eat or drink literally anything.
After 10:30.
After 10:30, make sure you got it to hand. YHA, don't worry about it. So after we checked in, we went to Mission Bay.
Yep.
And we met up with one of your friends, Heather, from
Spinning At.
From Spinning At in London, where there was some fire spinning going on.
Yep.
So we got to do some fire play, which I was super happy about, because that kind of ticked off everything at that point.
Yep.
On this holiday, we've done fire, water, we've climbed earth, and we jumped in the air. Mm-hmm. So that was like all elements done. It was like, oh, cool, that kind of settles things off nicely. But you can find that fire spin if you happen to be in Auckland and want to go see some nice fire dancing every Sunday and Tuesday on Mission Bay.
The Tuesday wasn't on Mission Bay, it was somewhere else.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was in town.
Yeah. And then after that, we went back to their place. So this was our first night in Haka Lodge. We didn't stay at Haka Lodge. I got very drunk and passed out and woke up.
Smashed your head and then passed out.
I don't feel anything. So I guess I must have hit it with something else, not my head. It was all an illusion. But that was lovely. Nothing really to say about that. We got drunk around a mate's house.
Yep. Just in another country. Same standard as usual, though.
Same shit, different continent, different hemisphere.
So we got breakfast cooked for us after that, which was good.
Boss.
And they cooked us dinner when we were there, and then, they heated up dinner for us, and then cooked us breakfast in the morning.
And, like one of the dudes, his kid was over. It's like, I don't know, 5-year-old, 7-year-old.
Yeah, 5,
which was perfect for me, because when you're hungover, your exact level of cognizance and acuity is that of a 5-year-old. So that was perfect for me. That was somebody I could talk to on a level with. But that day, so I woke up on a sofa in the garage of a hippie. Heather woke up and said, "Shall we do it?" And I booked us onto a kayak tour. Mm-hmm. Which was pretty fucking serious. It was a little more serious than we were expecting, to be honest.
No, I knew it was going to be hardcore.
Yeah, I mean...
I knew it was going to be exactly as hardcore as it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't encountered... So, okay. So, this tour, done with Ferg on the Water, which you could find at Okahu Bay.
Yeah, which is basically Mission Bay.
Which is, yeah, right next to Mission Bay. We were put in a double kayak. Neither of us haven't done any kayaking before.
I've done some kayaking before.
You've done some canoeing,
I've done some kayaking too.
Oh, you've done some kayaking,
I've done some
have
single
you?
kayaking, and I've done some double canoeing before.
Oh, okay.
But yes, we were put in a double kayak together and taught vaguely, very quickly how to move the... What are they called?
Paddles?
Paddle, that's how to move the paddles in a direction, and told to aim for an area. And then we proceeded with a 6.5 kilometre paddle to the nearest
Rangitoto Island, and it's also the name of the volcano that we hiked up.
Yeah,
which that was the bit that completely caught me off guard. I was expecting the hardcore. I knew it was going to be a long way to paddle, having never paddled before.
It was like an hour
to paddle back.
It advertised it as an hour and a half paddle up there, then a 45-minute walk up a volcano. What did you think what was different from what that described? That's what we did.
What was different was that it was more like an hour hike up and a 45-minute hike down.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we cooled right off. So by the time we got into the kayaks, in the dark, I may
we
point
watched the
out.
sunset while we were up the volcano, and then walked down as the sun was setting,
which was
and it got dark.
lovely.
Yeah. And then paddled back to the city with the city all lit up and the night stars above us.
They were out and they were shining for a little bit. God, fuck me, that sunset though was pretty spectacular. But I mean, on the paddle out, I didn't stop. I just went and went and went. You had a couple of stops.
Well, yeah, because I'm sensible.
Yeah. On the way back, I was all my puff had gone, I'd gone from, as I said, a sofa in a garage to paddling a kayak, feeling terrible in a matter of hours. And then on the way back, I was getting frustrated. My form was poor. I wasn't finding a rhythm. Heather, you were pretty much the engine that got us back, while I struggled with pretty much everything and suffer for it now still. I've got bits of skin missing.
Blisters.
Yeah, so bloody well done for that. But I'm glad. I'm glad we did it. Glad. Pretty happy that's the way that went. That was a pretty cool way to close out New Zealand.
Yep, we started it with a skydive. We finished it with a 12k kayak and a walk up a volcano.
And to wrap things back, this is where we met the girl Heather was talking about, who'd also sort of been to Rotorua and could compare it to Iceland and the like.
Yep.
Also, it turned out, like, when we got back, because we gave that girl a lift home.
Yeah.
She was saying, like, on the way back, the dude, so she was by herself, and then there was us two, and there was a family of three.
Yeah. She was with the dad of the family.
And on the way back, he was just saying, I can't do it anymore, you got to do all the paddling for us.
And that is where the recording ran out. There was no more memory. We took the wrong memory card. To catch you up and fill you in on the rest of the kayak aftermath, we got home late, but we got home in time for a good, maybe 3 hours sleep before having to get up and rush ourselves to Auckland City Airport International, or whatever. And then on we were to Fiji, and I was not a happy bunny that day. And going with the theme of the entire thing of hastily slapped together, no plan whatsoever, I'd like to say I have a big finish for you, but I don't.